There are
nice
teams, and there are
toxic
teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us.
Welcome to
delicious vicious
My job is to take this team to a championship. I need
better players.
We're not
good enough.
We're not going to compete with
Infill this campaign.
Find players
which are not as dumb as the players we have.
Just unlock another thing for this. Nice.
Good job.
Nice, Winnie. Well done, dude. Nice, Winnie. Here, we need to peek these guys and kill this here now. Is Winnie in this fucking channel?
I don't know. I think no.
User
Winnie, nice of you to be in the right fucking channel.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn. You're gonna look for a new fucking plan at this rate. For real, though. The rotations and pounding this shit fucking out, dude. They have less HP than us, by the way, somehow.
Nice, Ducky. Amazing move. Why the fuck did I join DEVI? Because it's pretty much because of you.
I can't hear you with Ducky's dick in your throat.
Hannes, I think it's time for you to stop fucking talking now. Hannes, you're such a fucking pussy, dude. Holy fuck.
Who are you?
I'm
Latvala.
First
Day into V.
It's my first
Day in any top clan.
Your goal shouldn't be to
Recruit.
players. Your goal should be to
Recruit.
wins. And in order to
Recruit.
wins, you need to
Recruit winners.
We're gonna shake things up. Why don't you walk me through the board?
I believe there's a championship team that we could afford
Recruit.
because everyone else undervalues them. Like an island of misfit toys.
What's your first?
Team.
I've only ever played.
Against good enemies.
It's not that hard.
Padger.
Tell him.
Old.
It's incredibly hard.
He can't.
WN8.
But what can he do?
You want me to speak?
We're not pointing you yet.
He wins battles.
Don't put a team together with a computer.
Coma.
Adapt to die.
Get the fuck out, man.
Guys, 30 seconds. Put me in.
What the
Get out with the 50B and the fucking 260. Better be in this fucking team, dude. That's all I'm gonna say.
Need someone to put somebody out in the last second, okay?
Guys, don't put anybody. Don't play.
Stop. Why am I not in the team? Get me in the fucking team. Get me in the team or it's gonna be a fucking issue, I promise.
Desmond, don't fucking kick me out, please.
Yeah, man, why you pick yourself?
Because I fucking pick myself.
Listen. Kill Hannes.
excuses of a guilty man.
Kill Hannes in the beginning. Kill Hannes. Kill Hannes. Kill him. Nice, let's push, dudes. Alright, push 1-2, push 8 lane, push middle, let's go.
What the fuck does fucking Mortis go for England? What the fuck do they want
Who
from
gives
England?
a fuck? Man, I'd never asked to go here, man. Holy fuck, man. Hannes fucking suiciding, dude, for no reason. Fuck you and fuck your draws, fucking suiciders, dude. Why the fuck do you drive through here, Zix, to get fucking spotted, dude? Why don't you just go around, dude, like a smart player would? It's OM, man, OM. Why are we playing like fucking this? Why did I listen to you, fucking Mongol? It doesn't fucking matter if it didn't lose the game, it contributes. Holy fucking shit, dude. What are you doing in this clan when you can't even understand the simple order? How fucking dumb are you, Huckley? You fucking Mongol, man! Holy shit! I said peek and back off, how the fuck are you still here?
Yeah, and we'll roll in at the moment actually.
Go hard. Nearly to...
Oh, well, 900k. Wait, how much did CSA? 900k. That's a battle for second place. Okay, poggers. Oh,
wait a minute!
I am playing with the Germans from now on.
An ugly girlfriend.
I'm playing with the Germans from now on, by the way.
You guys are
Playing.
the same old nonsense. Like,
It was 2017.
got to think differently.
The German team is better.
Do you believe in this thing or not?
100%.
What the hell am I doing?
Coma. Do you think you'll lose the campaign?
What? Where did you hear that?
Well, I go on the internet sometimes.
Don't go on the internet.
On TeamSpeak or the forum.
Listen up. You may not look like a winning team, but you are one. So,
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Germ. I'm here joined by Edge of Insanity. Edge, say hello.
Hello, Germ. Welcome back.
Indeed, we are here for the EU versus NA, DEVI versus Mahou, show match, Clan Wars Finals, Dawn of Industry exhibition, however you want to call it exactly. Goes by many names. Clan Wars match today, a best of 13. And yeah, here we are.
Looking forward to some good games today. These two teams have been hyped up between, the celebrity callers on both of the teams, as well as just their relative dominance in each of their fields. So, especially with, DeKillzer on DEVI calling for them, and Night One Rider calling for Mahou, it is expected to be a pretty good matchup today.
Yeah, both these callers very experienced. Doki's been calling for as long as me or longer than me, actually. He's an old man, I guess. I've heard rumors that he has shaven his beard, and I believe this will be his first competition clean shaven. And I don't know if that means he's going to be stronger or weaker, like without the beard. I mean, I have a big beard. I mean, it changes men when they lose it. So we'll see if he lost his mojo or if it was there all along. Yeah, Doki, big caller. Lots of Gold League experience, lots of Clan Wars experience, thousands of battles in both. And same thing with Knight. Thousands and thousands and thousands of battles in Clan Wars. And lots of success from both of them.
I am definitely looking forward to a matchup between these two teams, that is for sure.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and check in at the format. So for those that are unfamiliar, it is a best of 13. There will be 4 maps played. Or no, sorry. They will be playing 2 rounds on each map. It'll start with Himmelsdorf, then Steps, then Cliff, Sand River, Proc, Corellia, and then if it goes to a tiebreaker, it'll be done on Malnovka, and the sides of that will be decided later on. They will be switching between servers the first 4 rounds, so the first 2 maps will be played on NA, then we'll play the next 2 on EU. Then after that, goes one side to NA, then one to EU, so that both sides kind of have equal issues with ping. It'll be 15 on 15. Each side of the map, one team will be on defense. It will be a 10-minute timer. In other words, if time runs out, if you are the quote-unquote defensive side and you still have tanks alive and you have not been capped out, then you win by default. So one side is always sort of on attack, so to speak. And yeah, that's a way to kind of
help things move along a little bit. Make sure that neither side can just sit there and wait for a draw.
Exactly, and there'll be, I believe, no tank restrictions. You can bring artillery, you can bring 279s, you can bring chieftains and 907s, all of the types of reward tanks. But yeah, same format as typical.
That is true, and it should be fairly interesting considering the first matchup of the night will actually be Himmelsdorf, and both of these teams did lose to the APAC server on Himmelsdorf with a resounding 0 wins on it. So it should be interesting to see exactly what both of these teams bring. What are your predictions regarding tank lineup?
Tank lineup, I expect to see on Himmelsdorf a bunch of chieftains, a bunch of 279Es, and depending on what they try to do, I mean, there's still the old 277, 260 style aggressive push. I think we'll see at least a couple of them on each side. I guess we're nice at like something with a Russian turret, but 279s are just so powerful now that I'm not sure how much. And you'll probably see also the token high pen, high alpha guns, like a fail low or a few of those type of things, maybe an E3 or an E4, and then maybe 50Bs or bats for Hill, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm expecting something probably pretty aggressive coming from DEVI. Probably because Doki's calling style is fairly aggressive. He doesn't like to sit around and just wait, so absolutely. My expectations would probably be a couple 279Es, but then a whole bunch of chieftains, especially on this first match.
And Knight's calling style, too, to his credit, is also very aggressive.
That is true.
Both callers have that reputation, and both callers have that reputation of when they kind of do, not necessarily just the meta, so to speak, but when they both go, maybe we should just play it safe and do this, they both seem not like off, but like, not in their comfort zone. They prefer to just dictate the terms of the battle, even if it puts them in a quote-unquote disadvantage, because they feel like they can play their way out of it if they're just setting the tempo. And yeah, both of them, and I'm actually hearing reports here about the Daki that he claims he will shave his head if he loses. So,
ooh,
those are some serious stakes from Daki. I mean, he's going to be hairless then if that happens. So
I'm not entirely sure how he would be able to recover with the lack of man bun at the same time as a lack of beard.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. We've got about 3 minutes until the start of the first battle, and like we said, it will be on Himmelsdorf. And like you said, both sides not showing their best on Himmelsdorf recently. So the one thing they both have going for them though is one of those streaks has to come to an end. Someone will win this first round.
That is certainly true. And just for the information of those that are tuning in, this is a 10-minute delay of the battles. So just so everybody is aware, we are not, the whole group isn't starting 10 minutes late. They all did start at the top of the hour.
Yes, yeah, it's 2:07 right here. They started at 2. It's just, yeah, we're on a bit of a delay so as to avoid any cheating. But yeah, it should be getting going pretty soon here. What's your prediction? What's your overall scoreline prediction?
You know, it's kind of difficult when you ask things like that because as an NA player, you inherently want NA to do well. But at the same time, DEVI is just such a dominating force in global clan wars. It should be fairly interesting to see exactly how the line is, but my prediction 7-2 DEVI. I don't think it's going to be a clean sweep, but I don't know if Mahou is going to be able to pull off that a win.
Here's my thing. I'd like to raise the stakes. So if in the future it comes back to this, if Mahou beats DEVI 7-0, I think Daki has to shave his entire body. No body hair whatsoever. I'm just gonna say that. I mean, I'm just saying. I think that he would take that bet.
You know, who knows?
I mean, think of the content, man. Think of the content. But yeah, I'm going to say 7-1 in favor of EU, simply because NA did 7-2, I believe, against APAC a couple weeks back. And if I put them as worse than the APAC match, then they kind of like have nowhere to go but up, right? Like I'm looking at it as like that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I think DEVI's definitely heavily favored here. It will depend what Mahou shows up. Mahou that showed up against APAC a few weeks ago was not a very clean Mahou, and they looked like they got tilted quickly, and just things spiraled out of control. And if Mahou doesn't come out all guns blazing at the start, I could see a similar story playing out. But if Mahou plays how they normally play, they can absolutely keep up with DEVI.
Well, and I think Mahou is probably in a better situation to field this team today than they were the couple weeks back, just due to the fact that, you know, like Knight is in a better place, and you know they've had these couple weeks to practice and get things set up and ready. But we are about to go into the first game of the series.
Yes, we are. Here we go, guys. Sweet tab between screens, and we are here on Himmelsdorf. DEVI in the yellow in the south. And in the north, we have Mahou. So for DEVI, they are bringing 2 AMX-50Bs, 3 279Es, a bunch of chieftains, and 1 Batchet. And what are Mahou bringing?
Looks like 3 279Es. Interestingly, 4 705As. A Super Conqueror, 4 chieftains, 2 430Us, and an E4.
Yeah, the 705As are an interesting one because 705As, one of their biggest weaknesses is they have low DPM, but they also have lower penetration on a very derpy gun. And in the meta of 279Es, they are incredibly weak against 279Es, but they typically would be pretty strong against chieftains, I would assume, in kind of the corner fight, but also against Veillows. Veillows would tear them apart.
No, that's absolutely true. And I mean, if you can get those 705As into a hold down position, I mean, and you can see right away Mighty Pacifist and it looks like Oberfeld and Zero are just going to go ahead, and they're going to go ahead and get into those positions that they can take control of the 3 line, because that 705A, once it's held down, is real difficult to dig out.
Yeah, DEVI's first move was a standard just general split, containment, controlling the courtyard. Meanwhile, Mahou going for a very aggressive 3-line and 8-line push, But all of the tanks that were going to the hill, half of them have split off from DEVI immediately upon getting halfway up to K0. Started coming down to, I think it's 3 chieftains coming back, or is it just 2? Because they see the amount of tanks on the 3 line from Mahou. A lot of damage going into Magma, and you can see Knight in that cubby in the courtyard in his 279E already pushed up. And here we have the 2 line. You have a 279E from Zerial, just kind of staring.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm interested in seeing with Mahou, with what Mahou is doing, is they're giving up the hill completely. They're not fighting it, but that D-line crossfire that can be established if DEVI manages to take control, like establish good vision down there from those 250Bs in the bat chat. I mean, it could put Mahou in a really rough spot, and you can see Knight is taking some shots right now from those 50Bs that are up on the hill, so he's bleeding a lot of his HP that might not have necessarily been needed to have been bled.
I'm really liking DEVI's position.
It's a very strong spot.
They're on defense, and you have an advantage on the hill fight from the south, but the thing is, when they have cleared it to the point where they know there is nothing coming at all, they have created a huge time gap, where if there was ever a flex to the hill, it's going to take a long time, and they're going to see it coming for a while, and they're going to have lots of time to maneuver. So in other words, they've already narrowed down that when Mahou pushes, it has to be a 3-line courtyard, 8-line, 1-line, like, it has to be that. So they have all of their tanks there pretty much just ready and set up for it, and just preparing for it. And actually,
no, yeah, absolutely.
Some of them, they're sending a chieftain up. I believe it's Alka. It is going up to the hill now, and he will probably just take over the consistent fire, just general slow firing. And meanwhile, Mahou is pushing up a chieftain on the 2-line as well.
It looks like the bat chat might be making a play, possibly on the 0 line. I'm not entirely sure, but it does look like Hana he's going down. He's going down to take a peek and see exactly if Mahou has anything on that AB line, and they don't. So it'll be interesting to see if Hannes takes the bait and pushes into Jeff, or if
they're counting tanks.
They're trying to figure it out.
They've been counting tanks that have been spotted, and one of the things about Mahou's positions overall is that nothing has been left to the imagination. DEVI has seen 15 tanks lit. They have seen every single tank. They know where every single tank is, and when they kind of saw that, they know that the bat chat can go down and kind of play a little cheekily, because nothing for the next 30 seconds, next minute can flex to deal with him.
And it is
taking more ground.
And if you notice at the top, Mahou is trading better, and big hits taken by Bazooka, and big hits lost right there. I mean, Mahou is winning the HP trade as of right now.
Yeah, Mahou is up about 3,000 HP right now. It's just a question of how much HP are they going to have to lose to push forward. You can see Clap God in that little hold down. Ooh, and here comes the shot. Oh, the HE hits the dirt. Sorry, Magma. Try again. You can see the loadouts from these tanks. Everyone runs some pudding T, because that's what you do. Another HE hits the dirt. Needs more pudding. Come on. 3rd time's a charm. Come on. And. More pudding.
Just a little bit. But, you know, DEVI is in strong positions, but Mahou isn't giving up much territory at all. I mean, Mahou is still up by about 3k on this. But Bazook is down to 179. You know, he's a one-shot to even Clap God with HE if he pokes wrong. Knight's in a pretty strong position in that 2790 to make it hard to dig him out. But it looks like Big Guns is making a push down the line in that 2790 to kind of get behind that building. But, you know, they're all in positions that they can slowly work it out if they play it smart. And that, you know, the one thing that we didn't talk about is, you know, that 705A, it's kind of a weird tank to bring to a competitive match, because it's definitely not the average tank. But that being said, I mean, it's got a decent HE shell and a decent heat shell.
It's a weird alpha damage, too. It's in between that big 750 style alpha guns that you see so much, the 150s, 155s. There's the first kill. Clapcott does go down in his chieftain.
No, he actually managed to pick Bazook. Yeah, Bazook goes down first.
Still alive with 59
first kill goes to Mahou.
On the 2-line, Shift Arena will go down here, but at what cost? Because these tanks are committing, and look at this firing line from these Chieftain. Cabbage Man. Hey, I didn't like what I found there. Let me just back off. Will I survive? Will the next volley hit it?
He should be able to get out of there in time, and that's 2 tanks. Clapclaw does manage to go down, but now Zerial and Spooky Dookie are on the flank, and they are able to pressure the Chieftains and that 2790 that are by themselves.
And Daki immediately calling the trigger, by the way. The second you saw that push happening, look at the 0 line.
Oh, yeah,
look
there it goes.
They're B8. They are ready to go. They have, again, every single blue tank, you can see now from this perspective, except like one, is lit right now. Those 3 tanks can push the 8 line, they can crush those tanks there, or they could even just get on the cap and say, come to us.
And now we see the DEVI push to kind of
working.
keep control of the Mahou move. But it does look like Mahou has gone ahead and shoved those 7-5As right down the line because now they know that there's nothing on the hill. And you can see Nickel and, who is that? Bix in the corner. They are going to try to get down, it looks like, and get some fire into the 50Bs, but those 50Bs are taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Jeff going down there, and you can see what happened at K3 there with those 4 chieftains, Baron and Barry. That's something that you see a lot with EU players and Russian players as well, is sometimes the synergy and the ability to play off of each other. When you get those players like 4 stacked together that all share HP, that all focus fire, that know what they're doing, and really work on their reloads, it's very difficult to deal with. And they were all there. They may be poking out sideways, so to speak, but they're all moving in and out of the enemy's reticle and making it difficult to
Baron going down, Barry taking a big hit, and Mahou is now up by almost 7,000 HP.
A lot. I think that the push on the 8 line did not go as well as they were hoping. They lost a lot of HP and they lost a lot of initiative because there were still several tanks from Mahou sitting back there. I think that they had to actually push to the cap and hold, because what ended up happening was on the 8 line, Daki left his 8 line corner position, and they just kind of pushed into a crossfire. I think what they had to do is just kind of hold fast, go back to the cap, put 3 on the cap, and just force Mahou to come deal with it. Because then Mahou has to deal with it, and then their tanks on the 8 line were set up really defensively. And when they had to push out of that defensive thing, it didn't really work out well. Mahou commanding victory. I think they lost 3 tanks? 3 tanks.
3 tanks.
Wow.
I mean, that was definitely a different Mahou than we have seen pop up from the last couple of, of these battles.
Absolutely. I didn't think they were in a very good position, to be honest. I thought DEVI was in a really good spot, especially when that push on the 1 line happened.
Just simply looking at that tank lineup, I mean, kudos to Mahou entirely, because that 705A, we were, it's like the IS-7 that APAC brought. We were rolling our eyes at it, but it's got a weird sort of armor profile, and I wonder if it's a situation where DEVI just isn't used to shooting at them. And the Chieftain is really susceptible to HE, so with those big HE shells, it's definitely going to give the Chieftain some trouble. And I mean, you can see, Mighty Pacifist doing over 3k damage, God Geo doing 2,300. I mean, they were all pumping out the damage that they needed to do to keep those Chieftains down.
DEVI had a very aggressive lineup. In a very, honestly, like, you look at that lineup, I know it looks boring. It's a typical template Himmelsdorf lineup. You can switch around a couple of tanks here and there, but that is a flexible, aggressive, good Himmelsdorf lineup. They ended up kind of being on the back foot. Now, they are Himmelsdorf South. They did play the hill. They did get the hill. And, playing Courtyard from South is kind of rough. You can't really do it. And you can't really do 2 line from South very easily either. So, I get it. I just think I think that 3rd step, I think their 1st step was good. Their 2nd step was good. The 3rd step, I think, was a misstep after the push. I think they had Mahou in a good spot for them. But yeah, 705As, tricky tank to deal with. And like you said, Chieftain's not the best against them. And when the 705A came out, one of the weaknesses it had actually at the time was the Type 5 Heavy was in its prime. And
It
now
could
the Type
shoot
5
just
Heavy's
down.
been nerfed
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
quite a while now. But when the 705A came out, I was like, oh, I can't really pen a Type 5 very consistently. And the Type 5 just kind of eats away with me when I do my side scraping thing. But yeah, kudos to Mahou. They take a 1-0 lead, and Daki is 6 rounds away from a full body shave live on stream.
I Monk at TOS. I'm not entirely sure that Twitch would appreciate that tremendously. But I'm
tastefully done.
Well,
tastefully done.
I'm sure that Daki has a Chatterbait account, and he would be more than willing to share that with everybody, so we could all participate.
Sub to Daki if you would like to get in on this. Let me adjust my score line.
But no, absolutely. Kudos to Mahou. That was a very strong showing, and the interesting thing was they managed to take good sections of the map that not necessarily shut down DEVI, but countered DEVI's normally aggressive play. So kudos to them.
Yeah. I think that both teams looked good there. I feel like something fell apart in DEVI. And Mahou, I thought even though they're up HP, realized they also had more HP to begin with, right? Like they had more HP brought to the game than DEVI did Divide
Oh,
into
absolutely,
50 Bs and
absolutely.
stuff.
But it's one of those situations of a trade-off. The 705A, you know, lots of HP, slow firing gun. You know, they could have brought chieftains and, you know, had better accuracy, better pen, better everything. But, you know, interesting choices by Mahou. And, you know, there's always that possibility of a little bit of hubris as well, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think we saw Mahou did a good job of taking Courtyard early. If they weren't able to take Courtyard early, it would have been even more difficult. But at the same time, I don't know how you play Himmelsdorf from the north without taking something fast. Because if you are not going to play Hill, and you know you're not going to play Hill at the start, like, you're going to have to go 2-line, you're going to have to go Courtyard eventually. So you just want to get something in there fast.
Well,
they did a good job of
yeah,
that.
they absolutely did. I mean, they took advantage of, you know, the weakness of some of DEVI's strats for this map and turned it to an advantage for them.
So we have about 45 seconds until the start of the next round. It will be Mahou on defense this time on Himmelsdorf with an early 1-0 lead. We'll see how they play the South because, again, although Himmelsdorf is one of those weird maps where South...
It's one of the few maps that in 1.0 are is relatively balanced for both sides, I have to say.
Right.
So you can really play it two ways. You can play it aggressively, or you can play it slow and methodically, and it really depends on who you're fighting as far as which way is going to win.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, or my favorite, as I've said many times on stream. It's not like Corellia where it's like, well, there's this giant freaking hill and they're on it and we have to get up it. You know, Himmelsdorf can be played a lot of different ways. Look at the lineups coming out here. DEVI on attack, bringing 250Bs, 3279Es. I told you it was a template lineup. The exact same lineup from the north. And meanwhile, Mahou, what are they bringing?
Mahou with the surprisingly an IS-7, 2 mice, 4279Es, 3 705As, perfect in a chieftain, 2 VK7201Ks, a 430U, and an E4. It's an interesting lineup because it looks fundamentally similar to what we saw last game, but also fundamentally similar to what they did against APAC. So, which did not work very well. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how they adapt themselves, considering... So you
can see Jeff in his IS-7, right?
Yep.
One thing the IS-7, true through time, what is its best character?
That turret.
Well, its turret is the best in the game. Period, hands down, never changed. So for some of those 8-line hold downs, it's really good. It can be susceptible to HE, but so is everything else in the game. But it is probably one of your best tanks for doing it, and it's fast enough to get there, and you can see he's taking an aggressive spot. Meanwhile, DEVI doing a similar thing where they're playing Hill. You can see this circle is happening. DEVI is pushing Hill with a bunch of tanks. Meanwhile, a bunch of tanks for 279s on the one line for Mahou. They did a similar thing against APAC. You are correct, and
it's interesting.
There.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because Mahou looks like they're almost set up for a 1-2 line push, but DEVI's, I mean, how many tanks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? More than half the team is currently on the hill. So, but you do notice... Yeah, you do notice, though, Mahou now has their mice set up in positions that are designed to absorb a hill push.
Yeah.
So they did adapt.
The push from DEVI is a pure adjustment. Again, it's a template lineup. It's just able to do a lot of different things, and they adjusted their enemy's lineup. Mahou has 0 backchats, 0 50Bs, and very few, or sorry, actually just 1 chieftain. They have nothing that can move fast, so they just know that's not a normal backchat initial on the hill. If the enemy has a typical lineup, they know they can take it greedily. They can take as much as they can, so they're just trying to cut corners and get there as fast as they can. So they took the entire southern part of the hill. They made sure that they had enough tanks there, and now they're flexing back to the 8-line to reinforce it in case there's a counter push. Meanwhile,
and Mahou has
been taken by Mahou.
They have gone ahead and taken it. And you can see DEVI is going to go ahead and flex, and they've moved their chieftains off of the hill, with the exception of 1 down in the G9 corner. But the rest of them are going to go ahead and flex back, and it looks like they're joining that main chieftain push over with Hillary and Baron. And it looks like they're probably going to make an attempt to push out the 1-2 line. But at the same time, I don't think most of Mahou's team has been lit yet for DEVI, so they're kind of just probing, trying to see where everything is.
Yeah, everyone's committed on the 3 lines. So if you see where Hillary and well, Baron can technically sort of disengage, but not really with where Big Guns is anymore. Those 3 tanks and the tanks from Mahou, they're all kind of committed. You can see Ben Shapiro here in the E4. The reason why the E4 is brought, it's gun. It's really just this simple. When you have that much APCR penetration, 376, and 750 alpha.
Well, and not just that. I mean,
matter.
We were just talking about a few minutes ago the susceptibility of the Chieftain to HE. That E4 HE shell,
yep.
I mean, by itself will tear through the Chieftain turrets pretty easily.
Yep, even though there are some tanks that have like the same caliber or close to the same caliber, same normal alpha at 750, so take an E100 750 alpha versus an E3 or an E4 750 alpha. The HE shell on the E3 or E4 is actually much more powerful. So I believe it's 950 HE damage from the E100, and I believe it's 1100 on the E3 or E4. I may be wrong, average, but it just is. It's a much more superior shell. And the APCR has just FU penetration where it can roll 400 and it can just go through things that it shouldn't go through anyway. But
now,
yeah.
Hannes is in kind of a risky spot, but he is able to spot that crossing if Mahou were to send something back down the K line and back up to the Banana Road to make a push down the 8 line. But, you know, he's not really doing much else other than that. Now, it does look like DEVI is going to go ahead and move down. They're going to try to go ahead and pincer the Banana on the 8 line because they've got those 3 chieftains, or the 2 chieftains and a 279E set up. They've got their 50 Bs now down on the 9 line with the Bat Chat and the Chieftain as well. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Mahou catches this and if they're able to react in time, but they're... Oh, and it looks like Zero has gone ahead and adapted. Looks like he has... I don't know if he's detected Hannes, or if Hannes has... Well, if they're expecting them to push, but he's in a perfect side-scraping position right now to farm them as they push in.
Spooky's job is to be ready for the push off the hill. Mahou gave up the hill. They know they have the hill. They can push off the hill at any point. They're not worried about K-line if they were to push off. They're worried about if they come down off that road and pick the 8 line. So they are in position just to watch that.
Oh, absolutely.
And if the enemy comes in and picks Knight Rider or whatever, they still are going to have to deal with multiple mice with lots of HP. And if they decide to pick the mice, then so be it. The 279s and stuff are going to be fighting. But meanwhile, you can see the counter push. Here comes play on the 3 line.
Oh, here come the Chieftains. 3 line push. They're going to go ahead and push that, and will Mahou be able to react in time? And they do have fewer tanks there, but it looks like the Chieftains are actually just going to push right into the courtyard. But they are going to bleed a whole bunch. Comey taking some big hits.
No. He's trying to get into that hold down, and I don't know if he'll make it.
I don't think he's going to make it, honestly. He's tracked now, too.
Collapse. Knight will go down here in a moment, and then Jeff followed right afterwards. Zero is taking a lot of damage as well. Will they finish Knight? Oh, Hans is having trouble. Oh, no.
Knight Rider getting the pick.
And now it's a counter crossfire because now someone has to go kill Knight.
It's a 3-way crossfire because Ben Shapiro and Spooky Dookie can just push right up now. Just continue getting those shots as they try to push around and kill Knight. Zero's going to go down, but he's still keeping 3 Chieftains and a 50B completely involved.
HP up still
in favor of Mahou by about 4K.
More so that way, I think a couple of bounce shots that really cost DEVI, and now I think it's going to be Mahou's game, but it's just going to depend here. But yeah, there's too many tanks left alive, and now that push really stalled out. It wasn't able to pick things as quickly as they wanted to, and Mahou was set up and ready for it.
Well, now you can see Godtizu and Nickel both on that 3 line. They're both completely full HP. You know, they can take advantage of that now. You know, and the 1 line is still alive. Big Guns keeping Baron isolated. Docky, it looks like, is flexing.
Yes, you can see it's a 15k to 10k HP advantage. Now, realize a lot of that HP are on tanks like Mouse and 705 that aren't as flexible, but it's just about Mahou now recognizing. You can see Baron will go down next. They need to push something in there. Yeah, he may take some damage, but once they kill him, then...
Yeah, and it looks like Nickel is going to go there. Yep, there's the kill. Now they're going to go ahead and isolate Docky, most likely.
Which means DEVI has to push now, and I mean, there's very little time left, only 3 minutes, but, you know, for them to get a win here is going to be...
Well, and Mahou is on defense, you know, again, so if this draws out, it's still a win for Mahou. This is definitely going not the way that, you know, everybody expected. It's definitely an interesting, definitely an interesting road.
Was very... I think that a lot of it relied on them being able to get to E1. once they were able to get to E1, it put a stranglehold on DEVI's ability to flex and made the push line for DEVI have to come from hill in some way.
It flipped the map almost entirely and made everything a crossfire.
The only way I can see it is if they had to maybe not send as many down the 3 line as they did. But you can see the punishment that happened. To counterpoint with the first battle, I mean, very different tanks, very different lineups, but Mahou is able to take the courtyard early, and because they were able to take the courtyard early, they had extra pressure. Now, DEVI wasn't able to take 1 line in the same way that Mahou was in this game, so they weren't really able to do the courtyard stuff. It was very well done by Mahou, and DEVI is just going to start off this down 2-0.
Very surprising turn of events, and you know, just clicking over to see Daki's stream, and he is more than not pleased with how things are going so far.
Sounds about right. Daki, when he's on, like when he's playing well, when he's confident as a caller, he plays really, really well. If he goes off of his game, you know, things could go badly, but at the same time, if Daki's toxic, like, that can also be inspiring because you don't want Daki to yell at you, do you?
No, this is true. It's interesting because the positions that Mahou took, like you were saying, on the 1-2-3 line, it made that 1-line push that then DEVI tried to do a crossfire. So they took shots the entire way down from the side from those 22790s, which the Chieftain couldn't dig out. And then, you know, just everybody else, that was masterfully done as far as setting up for a defense like that.
Yeah, and let me adjust my scoreline really quick to reflect Mahou taking the 2-0 lead. So, it's still early. It's a best of 13. It's first team to 7 wins.
Oh, it definitely is early. That is for sure.
It's early, and DEVI just lost 2-0 to APAC on Himmelsdorf as well. They could just say, hey, not our map.
Not our server as well.
Yeah, not our map, not our server. Let's just move on. New map, new times. Don't concentrate too much on it, right? Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. You just chalk it up to whatever and move on. Once they get to some of the maps they're more comfortable on, although I think that DEVI is comfortable on Himmelsdorf, they just play their game there. And that's not to also slight Mahou, because Mahou looked, I will put it bluntly, 2 weeks ago on Himmelsdorf, awful. They did not look awful on Himmelsdorf today.
No,
they looked very good on Himmelsdorf today.
They did not. They knew exactly what they were doing.
I'm saying that with as much affection as possible, and I think that if any of the Mahou players are listening to this, they would probably, I hope that you guys would agree with me. 2 weeks ago, it didn't look great. Today,
they
looks
were
much
they were
better.
definitely in a rough spot, and it snowballed. And it'll
That's
be interesting
too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They adjusted and they overcame. So now
Mahou
they
was,
are,
I think, embarrassed a couple weeks ago losing to Atlas the way they did. No slight to Atlas. I mean, Mahou wanted to win that, and they wanted to win decisively, and they got decisively stomped. And if you're Mahou, you may think of it like, you know, they have nothing to lose here. Everyone's saying, oh, EU's going to win. They always win. We're not. So they don't have any pressure, realistically, right? I mean, so they can look at it as DEVI has all the pressure. We don't have the pressure. People are saying we're not going to win. Let's just go out, have some fun, play our game, and see what happens.
Yeah, every win for NA is a win, you know. So, but every, you know, now at this point, DEVI is, you know, in the same position that Mahou was, and that NA and APAC were generally viewed the same way that EU and NA are. So it'll be interesting to see if this continues, or if DEVI manages to kind of rally the troops in a way and get things back.
Yeah, and the other thing is that the Mahou guys know that Daki is, again, one more round closer to shaving all of his arm hair. Everything's going. It's all going.
Hashtag full body Daki.
We're just kidding around, guys. But yeah, we've got a few minutes until the next battle. The next map, for those that are wondering, I'll pull it up here, will be everybody's favorite Steps, otherwise known as Steppies. This will be
I don't know if
it's
it's a favorite, but it's definitely a map, that's for sure.
it is definitely a map. It used to be my favorite map, or one of my favorite maps in the game, in both pubs and tournaments and clan wars. Then it got perverted into the monstrosity that it is today, which is
Camp Fest.
yeah,
on average.
they put as many obstacles in the way to potentially pushing. So yeah, it used to be a map that I felt like, yes, it was defensively favored overall, but there were certain ways to push against certain setups that I think good teams could exploit. Now, those ways are not really there anymore. There's only a couple ways to push, and even in the best scenario, they're not really particularly favorable. The main way that an attacking team wins on this map is when the defending team doesn't defend too well. But yeah, we've got about 3 minutes till we go in. The first defense, I believe, will be...
I believe it's DEVI as the first defense because they are the visiting team for the first two.
Okay, that's how it's done. Okay, good. So yeah, DEVI will be on defense. That will be played out in the south, the attacking team in the north. Those anthills, everything, tanks that you guys should expect to see. 907s, chieftains, potentially 279E or IS7 in a token position or two on defense. But for defense, I think you're predominantly going to, and you'll see an artillery or two. I think that honestly, on defense and attack, with a 10-minute timer, I don't think you can bring 2 artillery. You may want to bring 2 artillery on attack if you're just like all in, like we need all of the luck in the world to break this type thing. And you're just saying, hey, we're just throwing it at the wall. But I think 1 arty is just common. And yeah, we'll see a bunch of chieftains, bunch of 907s to flex, all of the normal positions taken up. And then just see. One thing, though, to note, even though DEVI lost those games, for those that are like trying to learn how to play clan wars better or tournaments better, you can look at some of their rotations in those games, and the second they have a trigger where like a push is happening on the weak side, they are immediately going, and they're kind of prepared to do it. I saw that on Himmelsdorf on the 0 line on the hill. I was trying to point that out during the push on the 1 line. You can see them just immediately going, and they're kind of a step ahead in doing that. If you can figure out those triggers on a variety of maps, including steps, you'll be just that little bit ahead. And when you're facing a good team, you'll find that they don't give you much room to work with. They'll always be pressuring you. So we'll see. Mahou also has that reputation.
They certainly do. I mean, just fighting
Sand
them
River
on...
in particular, dude.
Oh yeah, both steps and Sand River. I mean, it's interesting to see because Mahou played slow, which they don't normally ever do on Himmelsdorf. Yeah, it was slow. It was methodical. It looked well done. Like they knew what they were doing. But with steps, I mean, you can do the same thing, but it depends. Like you said, it depends on the artillery. So if you see, from Mahou's perspective, you go into the fight and you see DEVI with, 2 CGCs, you can't play slow. So are they going to be able to adjust the way they need to on a map that is so open but also bushy? It'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, we've got about 20 seconds in here. 20 seconds until the battle goes in here. Mahou didn't look great on steps last week against or 2 weeks ago against Atlas. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're up 2-0, and they were looking awful on Himmelsdorf, and they historically haven't been the best Himmelsdorf playing team overall. I don't think it's been like their comfort zone, I should say. So they should be feeling really good. And oh my god, we've got our... So, bringing it out for DEVI on defense, we have 1 279E, there's your token, and we have 6 chieftains, 3 907s, 3 BRs, and 2 CGCs. Meanwhile, what are Mahou bringing on their attack?
It looks like more than half of their... It looks like 8 of their tanks are currently chieftains. They've got 3 907s, a Progetto 65, and 2 CGCs. So it looks like both teams are looking to slow play it as much as possible, but Mahou electing to not bring EVRs is such a... That's a weird... Yeah, that's a weird move.
Yeah, and the EU guys are going to be playing their EVRs on NA. Correct? This is still on the NA server.
Yeah, this is still NA server, so, the ping advantage does go to Mahou.
Daki going for a very fast initial scout loop. So you can see, the route that all of Mahou's tanks are taking on that B2-3 area? What Daki did right there is just a pure, I'm going to slow them down. If they are going immediately to the one line, if you just go immediately from the spawn, Daki spots that 100% of the time. He's going to be like, oh, there's 5 tanks plus going there. They know, right? So they have to give that space because of the EBRs, which means they have to take more time to get into their initial positions. They can't push instantly. So now you can see, as a result of that, look at DEVI's positioning. Shifterino's not scared at all. He's pushing up. Everyone's pushing up. They're not like waiting for this to happen. That's why some of these loops are done. It wasn't necessarily a scout loop done for the purpose of punishment and doing damage. It was just gaining time.
But did you notice when we were riding on Daki, the only thing he lit was Knight, the Progetto 65, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Until this chieftain group that's pushing down the 2 line clears that corner. I mean, they're still blind. Now you can see that the arty shots are coming in on that standard kind of area. But you know, here comes the Mahou push. Here come that chieftain shove.
So it's a timing thing where they were just trying to avoid the Daki loop, and then now they're going all in. It's all in. This is. They don't want to slow play it. They brought 2 artillery, and they just are going to have more HP though because of all the EBRs. And now Shifterino will go down here, and we'll see just how much punishment they're going to be able to put in. Old King's getting tracked in an unfortunate spot. Here comes the push in. They're going to go for Baron, and they're going to have someone have to pick off Old Kings. But look at all
Daki taking shots now. The 907s. The 907s are making their existence known now because they are able to get shots into the what F4 F5 or H4 H5 area to keep some of those 907s down. But you know, they killed a couple of them. But now you know Zero is bleeding a lot. Nickel's bleeding so much. I mean, Mahou in a couple seconds is down what, almost 5k HP.
And there are 3 EBRs on DEVI's side, and they are still up 5,000 HP here after that push. Just to give you guys a little perspective on the number of HP, you can see the trio over there: 2 907s, 1 prosciutto. They were purely defensive. Even the prosciutto originally was at A3. It was to catch the EBRs if they came in on the weak side. But now, seeing that the push on the 2 line is not going well, the call has been made. They just have to kind of go all in and make a play over there. They're going to lose that fight though against the couple of chieftains that are in reserve. And it's just going to be DEVI's game. I don't see how they lose this. They're stuck at J2.
Bazook making the play up the middle. Looks like Jeff has noticed it and is going to go ahead and try to intercept. But it does, you know, those 2 EBRs, they are going to leave those already kind of exposed. Zero looks like just went down.
That's it.
Yep, Shifterino.
Yeah. H1 907. That's all that's said. Now, granted, only 2 tanks are dead for Mahou, but there's 5 tanks, I believe, all stuck there at 1 shot or 2 shot that can't leave. And now that they've committed, this is a problem with the 2 line push in general, is that you need to catch the enemy team where maybe they didn't have all of their guns there. You roll the dice. You hope they overplayed their hand on the other side, and that you can catch those guns there, make a push fast enough to get them, and then push out of there because you want to get to K4. They weren't able to do that. And here comes
now, Mahou still, in theory, could pull things back if needed, but they're ultimately in a position where now their arty is going to start to get hit by
making a
Nix
very
and
aggressive play
Patrick.
here. He will likely die. I don't think he's going to be able to get out. But if they pick up the artillery, it's probably worth it. But it's a pretty big risk. Going for the big plays.
And it looks like the arty did get hit, but they didn't go down. So, you know, Daki down to 56. One more shot, going down.
Daki goes down. You can see the 9-line fight is still going on. The prosciutto had to come back, so now they have a 4v2 here. Knight Rider will go down next as I hiccup into my microphone. Sorry about that. And yeah, it is DEVI's game. The HP lead is a little bit less. I mean, 4,000 to 5,000, but again, all that HP is just stuck at J3, staring at a rock, all crying. Why?
Oh, they absolutely are. But at the same time, now DEVI has 2 chieftains and those 2 EBRs completely out of the fight. Mahou still has a Progetto, which can still dump out a lot of damage. And they still have Jeff at nearly full HP. So, I mean, those chieftains, and the EBRs especially, I mean, they're both one-shots. If they play that stupidly, Mahou can still pull back a couple of vehicles. So, you know, I think it's ultimately going to come down to, can Mahou capitalize on picking those low-health vehicles? And if they can, it's still possible for them to win.
Yeah.
Especially with Tedster playing an artillery piece. I mean, there goes Baron down by a shot from Perfect.
Baron not playing very well there. You could see Tedster hit him first, then Perfect hit him. I mean, clearly,
well, you know, the CGC is one of those things that it doesn't matter what you're behind, you're still going to get hit for like 500.
I want an ability where you can like build like what are they called? The iron struts, like an iron strut. Like I want to build a bunker.
But yeah,
It's just like deploy bunker. Like I want to be an engineer tank. I want to build a bunker. I want to build a dome.
don't give them ideas. They might add it to frontline.
Yeah, now their focus is back to Old King here, I believe is his name. Yes, Old Kings. And yeah, you can see it's just a stalemate here. And you are right. DEVI can throw this, absolutely. And that's where like you can see all those guys there, the Ghost, Magma, and company, they have to be disciplined and they have to just kind of hold the line and make sure that they don't lose. It's about 4 minutes remaining. So even
Old
if the
King's
artillery
getting
continues
hit.
to kill and kills Old Kings here, it's still not going to be enough.
Well, ultimately though, all of Mahou's HP is in J3, right? And Old Kings goes down to another shot from Perfect. Those two Artie are just managing to dump out tons of damage onto DEVI because they can't do anything. Like if they leave that, like Mighty, all he has to do is just proxy spot Hillary, proxy spot, and just keep Ghost and Alcarlo lit.
They just can't let the enemy push out of there or leave there. That's why they're kind of getting destroyed. Is that they have to keep them from leaving. And because if the enemy leaves, it's a problem. And will this hit? Oh, and they
Arced it right over.
Padger with the amazing shot there. I mean, I just saw the talent from that reticle alone. Amazing aim. But we don't like artillery players here. I'm sorry, guys. It's a necessity in Clan Wars. I think there's nothing wrong with artillery in Clan Wars. It's part of a comprehensive strategy. But it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah, got about 12,000 to 9,000 HP, about 3,000 HP for DEVI. 3 minutes remaining.
The only thing that I have to say to that,
HP.
like the only thing that I have to say to that is imagine if Mahou now had all of that HP that they had when they pushed in. I mean, they dropped 6,000 HP just making the crossing to get into the position that they're in.
Oh, here
comes the DEVI move.
They're gonna time it on an artillery shot here. They're gonna get the stun. There's the stun and the damage, and now they have multiple things that they can just pick. That they just have to get the kill shot on. So they need to kill Godzu, and then we got a miss there, I think, from Alcaero, or someone missed. Couldn't tell. And
Spooky Dookie taking some big hits. Clap God Mighty going down as well. Clap God then.
Very well done, and that will seal the deal for Mahou. This isn't also an insult to Mahou on the J3 position. Who understood what they were doing. It's not that uncommon. It's a steps attack, and look, you sometimes roll the dice early, you sometimes roll the dice late, and you know they don't always. It doesn't always work out for you. And on steps, it's just there isn't a slow, methodical way to 100% win the game on attack. It's not there. So
no, absolutely.
Sometimes you just do something like this to hope that it works.
And unfortunately, it did not work that time, and it looks like Mahou is just going to try to pick a couple of tanks. Skirga's probably going to go down with Swamp Cabbage Man, and Bix now making a move on him, but at this point, I mean, the game is over, so this will go to DEVI.
So you can see there just a little mini thing. You can see a little bit of turret break and how you can work in platoons with Bix and Swamp Cabbage Man. Until the artillery kills you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, teamwork is great until a CGC shell hits you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, you know, it makes it difficult for them to deal with when they have to rotate their gun back and forth. It's called a turret break. The more of an angle, like 80-degree turret break that you can get, the better. It's just very difficult for them to keep their gun fixated on one target because the other guy pokes out and shoots them. But yeah, you can see here. There goes the rip the dreams of Donkey having to do the full shave. Now it's only potentially his head as DEVI picks up their first win, bringing it to 2-1.
They certainly do.
Those game stats here. Looking there, oh god.
Just the damage pumped out by all 4 of the Artie. I mean,
yikes.
I mean,
3,900 from Padger, 3,270 from Nyx. And then you have Tedster with 3,100 and Perfect with 2,500. And overall, 6 kills to the Artie on both sides, cumulative or collectively. Yeah, some tanks not really able to get going. Shifterino, though, you can see there in the 907 from DEVI, the first tank to die. 1,362 damage and a kill, which means that he got a kill shot on a tank that they pushed in and they killed him instantly. So tanks like 907s, high DPM tanks in some of those positions, they still get out some shots before they get picked. Super Conquerors were notorious for being just kind of the best at, well, if they have to push and kill something, push a Super Conqueror. Even though he doesn't have a clip, he's going to get 2 to 3 shots out, like, at worst anyway. So,
oh, absolutely. And it's one of those situations where, you know, sacrificing that one tank, you know, they might not do well. They might not get, you know, the screen time or the praise, but, you know, that role is still an important role. He managed to take somebody out. He diverted 2 of Mahou's chieftains, and, you know, they continued to bleed that entire push.
All of those chieftains stuck in the corner there were part of Shifterino's role. Those guys had to get stuck there because imagine if Shifterino was not there. Mahou could have pushed that place, in theory, with half the tanks. And then they would have the other half able to go other places. But they have to push with a certain amount to be able to kill tanks like Shifterino and prevent a counter push. So if they push with that many, they have to commit more resources to this spot that they then can't disengage from. So it's all part of the strategy. It's all part of the way that it works. And yeah, like you said, players like that don't always get the praise for some of those being the sacrificial lambs. A lot of times callers end up being that spot. I've seen Knight in particular a lot of the time loves to be the sacrificial lamb type of tank, so that, hey, if I'm dead, it's fine, I can call easier from being
exactly dead. And you know, ultimately it comes down to a situation where when the caller dies, it's a catch-22. Yeah, you've knocked out a tank, but the caller can now focus entirely on the map.
Let me update my scoreline to show that DEVI is now on the board. There we go. We've got about 2 minutes until the next battle. So this time, Mahou will be on defense. If DEVI wins, then it'll be even going into the EU server maps. Mahou, though, I mean, DEVI played that well, but overall, the HP ended up being sort of close, sort of. I mean, I don't know if the battle was close or not, but at the end scoreline makes it look a little closer than I feel like it was.
I feel honestly that had Mahou not bled so much HP just getting to that J3 corner, the game would have been significantly closer. Like, they made the decision ultimately, right? And they were able to get a lot of damage from... They're already in that spot, picking off two of DEVI's tanks, but they bled 6-7k in that initial crossing right away. So, yep. I don't know if it was worth it. You know, it was a gamble. It just didn't pay off this time.
Yeah, and we'll see. And again, it's the steps attack. So this is maybe that first the first act is about to end on this in this match set. Mahou holds their steps defense. They're going to go into the EU server with a 3-1 lead. It's a big lead to have. That's a really good lead to have. If it's a split 2-2 and they just lost their steps defense, that is not a very good feeling. That would be really good for DEVI. So we'll see. It's still... Mahou has a good steps defense. They traditionally have done well on it. Most clans have. I'm interested to see what DEVI will do. Are they going to do something wonky? Are they going to just kind of play it slow and just push and just see where everything lies? Or what's going to happen?
Not entirely sure. I'm hoping that we get a similar game to what we've seen. You know, something that both teams do a little differently. Now, DEVI has brought those two relatively cookie-cutter lineups to Himmelsdorf, and it didn't pay off, but we did see them bring, you know, a somewhat different lineup for steps, so it'll be interesting to see exactly what they do this time.
Yeah, I think we'll see EBRs this time from Mahou, though. I don't think we'll see OK, and I saw one.
One EBR.
Okay, I am correct. DEVI, no caster curse, has 6 chieftains, 4 907s, 3 EBRs, 2 CGCs on their attack on steps, and Mahou, Edge, what are they bringing?
2 279Es, 3 chieftains, a leopard 1, a host of 6 907s, again that Progetto 65, an EBR, and then Tedster, of course, in the CGC. Now, Mahou and NA do have the reputation for playing a much more finessed game, which you can see with the use of the Progetto and the Leopard. You know, tanks that excel in that sniping role or in that quick DPM role. But I don't know. For a defense, it'll be kind of interesting to see exactly how they're utilized.
Yeah, for the pure gun, they're very good. For the flexibility of, hey, can we have 5 907s be pushing us at any point? that's where, you know, sometimes the Prosciutto and the Leopard lack. Prosciutto less so.
Docky taking a big hit, though. Those two 907s and the Prosciutto over there just to shut down that EBR run. And you can see Hana's took a hit as well. Yeah, but Hana's as well. So, you know, 2 big hits from 2 of DEVI's EBRs. But, you know...
Look at Han's position.
Yeah, Hana's has managed to get all the way up and onto the H line. Now, he did get lit, so he's probably going to die for it, but...
That was just a unfortunate start. That's a very aggressive play.
And there he goes.
Look at the 907. Look at Ghost there, and look at this push from Mahou. They are going in on the 3 line. So
very aggressive move on a defense, and it looks like Ghost is going to go down with 8 HP. And most of Mahou's tanks have gone ahead and pushed right up into DEVI's faces. I mean, they didn't bleed any HP for that, for the most part.
Yeah, and I think that was unexpected. Now, the thing is, they're gonna have to. Are they gonna keep pushing, or they're gonna back off? Because if they keep pushing, it's a very favorable defensive position for DEVI.
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
don't think they are. You can already see some tanks disengaging now. The problem is they're gonna have to leave Perfect.
Oh, Perfect and God Tisu are both going to stay there. My guess would be Swamp Cabbage Man is going to stay back as well, because he's tucked into that corner. He's already safe now. And he can just sit there and support both of them if they decide to push around. And Mahou has completely flipped the map. I mean, they've made it almost an east-west game as opposed to a north-south.
Yeah, and for those asking about some of those niche tanks, I think that, at least in my experience when I was calling, and it depends on the caller. Some callers are like, you need to bring this tank, and you will bring this tank, and you'll shut up, and you will like it. And you will put a camo net, and you will put, you know, you will do all of this. And sometimes very specific roles and specific strategies, like, it does require that, and people hate you for it, but it requires it. In other things, it's like, hey, we're doing a flexible thing. You know what? He wants to bring a Leopard. I'm telling him to do this job.
Well, it's one of those tanks that just absolutely excels at a specific job. Whereas, you know, a Russian medium is more of like something
you have
that
to have a rapport with the caller.
Yeah,
you have to understand each other, and certain people would have that rapport. Like, I played with a bunch of different players during times. I mean, there were people like, I remember Brett was notorious for it, where he would say, I want to play this tank, or Vetro, or Dodo, or whatever, and it would be like, hey, I want you to do this role. I want you to play the best tank possible. Try out all of these different ones that you want, and tell me what's best in what circumstances. And you get that rapport with the caller, and a lot of these guys on Mahou have played together for years, and I assume that's what happens with Knight and them calling. It's not, we need a Leopard no matter what.
Oh, no, absolutely. And you know, Zero and Bix are both, they both have to have been very trusted by Knight in order to have been put in those tanks. Because, like I said, those are tanks that the Leo has an exceptional gun. It'll hit things regularly, but you have to have the skill to be able to hit them. They're also exceptionally good, weak armored. So, you know, they get rushed by 4 907s, 2 907s. The Leopard isn't coming out of that alive. It has no chance of bouncing a shot.
Mm-hmm. And when the Leopard pushes, it's a gigantic target that is very easy for everyone to hit. So in all those little peekaboo things where you see 3 tanks echeloned, the Leopard isn't ricocheting anything. That's kind of part of the problem too. It limits you a bit. But here's the thing. Mahou has the whole freaking map. And they've had it for several minutes, and I have seen very little movement from DEVI. I mean, Docky was kind of feeling out that whole thing.
They also have 6 minutes left, and it's their defense.
DEVI's going to push one line.
They're going to have to at some point, but the thing is they're pushing in. They're going to have to push the 2790. They're going to have to push the Chieftain. Then there's another 2790 and another Chieftain and another Chieftain and a 907, all behind there. Not to mention both of those already.
Road or out of the fight.
No, absolutely. Well, they are, but it's a 907. If DEVI commits that entire one-line push in, they can push in and get shots into the Chieftains that are going to be left behind, like Alucaro and Busak. Here comes the push.
Yep. The way. And it's just, are they going to get the initial volley favorably? Clapcott is not in position to get his first shot in. Here comes push.
Hillary getting huge damage. Hillary's going to go down.
Gatsuyo backing up a little bit. They need to finish it, and they need to kill big guns, and they need to keep going.
Magma down.
Look at Swamp Cabbage's position as well. This is a ginormous crossfire from Mahou.
I mean, there's and those the 907 and 3 Chieftains are still trying to dig out that one big guns in his 2790, and I mean, they're in positions now that. And you notice those 907s, they pulled back out of the middle and they're coming over to join the fight. They're just driving right across the middle because DEVI has nothing to farm it.
Over. And
This is a
it's
Mahou
layered
win.
defense. You have roadblock, 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 tank, tank, tank. It's push, kill, what's his face? Kill big guns. Push, kill Sue. Push, kill swap damage man. Push, kill perfect. Push, kill clap god. Like, there's a barrier at each one of these things that they're going to take punish for. And it's just a really defensible position. Not to fault DEVI, it's difficult for them. If they were all set up at the beginning for that push, then possibly they could have done more damage out, but I mean, when Mahou took it initially, but this is kind of the same thing. I would give DEVI the benefit of the doubt the same way I would give Mahou the benefit of the doubt on the last round. It's the steps attack, man.
Yeah,
There's
steps
a lot
is
of
just
ways
one
to
of
lose
those.
and very few ways to win.
Oh, absolutely, it certainly is. And you know, Mahou taking those aggressive positions just right off the bat, then they were just willing to let it draw because a draw is a win. So it puts the pressure on DEVI to be able to perform perform the way they need to, and they just weren't able to this time.
DEVI had to push their heavies out of D1, go north, cross the B line, north of the rails, and get out. And the problem is with where Sue and the 279 had pushed up to, and the 907s on the mid road, they weren't actually able to rotate without being seen. If they were to pull their tanks out and go to the 9 line, like maybe people would think would happen, they're gonna get lit on the 5 line 100%. They're not gonna make it out, guys. Like, so if they did that and they were seen rotating, would they lose them? They were just caught in a really bad spot, I think. And
oh no, absolutely. And you know, kudos, absolute kudos
Mahou
to
gobbled
DEVI.
it up. Yeah, like what I was saying before about watching DEVI's rotations and gobbling up real estate as it becomes available and not kind of waiting for it. Mahou did a very, very, very good job in that round.
They essentially turned DEVI's initials, like the strat that DEVI used against them, they turned on their head for that. Like that aggressive one-line push, you can tell it caught them completely off guard.
Yeah, so that will leave the scoreline at 3-1. We look at the post-game stats here. Alco getting 3,000 damage. The CGC next getting 2,600. Then Rick with 2,000. Meanwhile, Mahou, you have a lot of people doing damage. You have Geo, Swamp Cabbage, Perfect, Jeff, Perfect not playing artillery this round. Good job, Perfect. Jeff and Lady Nico, and oh yeah, and Mighty Pest. Yeah,
everybody was able to get the damage. And what's even more interesting is the fact that, you know, Bix, he had that Progetto, but didn't really get out any damage. But by just being there, he was able to keep Mahou's DEVI's 3 EBRs rather off of their arty. So I mean, it was aggressive, it was unexpected, and they performed it incredibly well. A very big congratulations to that.
Yeah, so we will be switching servers now. I am going to update the scoreline real quick. Oops, not 2-2. 3-2-1. Mahou's in the lead. We'll be switching servers here. I'm not sure exactly how long the break will be. I think we should probably take a quick break.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Shall we take about 5 or maybe 10?
I wouldn't go too far because, you know, the server switch doesn't go too far, or it doesn't take too long. So, I mean,
all right.
I don't know. It's kind of difficult.
Let's put it at 5 minutes, and then we'll kind of see, because it takes them usually a little bit to get going, and we'll see if we have to delay it a little longer.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music and mute myself.
We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Indeed, welcome back. We have about 3 minutes until the next battle starts. We are on the EU server now. It is a 3-1 scoreline. Mahou in the lead from North America. The maps that we'll be playing next will be Cliff, followed by Sand River. Ooh, slightly different maps to what we've been playing. There, scores update. Possibly, I'll say my personal strategy when it came to map picks and you couldn't ever have 100%, but when we had to deal with these type of things, the maps like Steps were the maps that I'd say, let's try to get that on the other server, because it's even with the ping, you're generally fine. But the maps like Cliff in particular, oh please God, you
It's
don't want
such
Cliff
a
on the other server.
Oh yeah, it's just such a fast
changes
play
your
map.
strats.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting that if, I mean, just playing an EBR on you ping at the best of times is going to bring you upwards of 100 MS. So it'll be interesting.
Hard to be the EBR if you're Cliff North and you're the EBR that needs to go straight up to the lighthouse in the strat. If you have good ping, that is incredibly precise and easy to mess up. If you have bad ping and you are not accustomed to that ping, it's incredibly easy to mess up. And if your entire strategy hinges on things like that, you see teams actually adjust strategies based on the server. Sometimes they go, look, man, too much finesse, too many moving parts, less EBRs, less fast tanks. Let's just bring hard stats. Let's bring 907s. Let's bring chieftains, and let's just kind of just steamroll it as best we can. But yeah, we got 1 minute here till we go in.
Absolutely.
Mahou again in the lead. This is DEVI's time to, they want to kind of, set the tone. This would be the time. These next 2, even 3 maps with Prokhorovka afterwards are probably my 3 favorite in the series besides Himmelsdorf. These are maps that can honestly go either way, but I would say they're definitely both. Cliff and Sand River are both defensively favored. Just they're not Steps defensively favored.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is definitely true. And just another little thing to point out for Mahou with their play on this. Mahou has been scrimmaging EU teams for the past couple days, and they've been doing nothing but play on the EU server. So, they definitely made the right move, I think, with that, and it'll be really interesting to see exactly how they play it off with all that practice.
And by the way, for those wondering about that EBR run going up to the lighthouse, I myself have 100% success rate in that. There is no evidence that I have ever messed up that run.
Oh, of course, same. Yeah, 100% win rate too.
Anyone that posts any clips otherwise are liars and fake news. So going into the match, DEVI in the north on attack, bringing 3 Object 277s, 2 Chieftains, 2, 4, 6 907s, 3 STBs, and 1 EBR. Meanwhile, what are Mahou bringing? I thought the sides were inverted.
Well, it does look like a relatively fast comp. They brought 3 277s, 4 Chieftains, 3 907s, 4 STBs, and an EBR. So, that is 100% going to be a mid-brawl between these two lineups.
DEVI and EU teams in general have been historically very strong on maps like Cliff. EU RU teams tend to tear apart the other servers on Cliff. Just from all my experience, the little 3v3s, 6v6s, the 4v2s, all these little, and there goes Hans up, and there goes Tank Destroyer up.
But they countered each other perfectly. Neither one of them is going to commit completely. They both managed to big HE pens, but Tank Destroyer definitely in the advantage there.
You can see here, finesse lineup, a finesse strategy as both teams are going 5-6 line with 15.
This is going to be a full brawl. DEVI just pushing right over though. 0-1, he's right over. He's already tracked though. Nickel and Jeff, Zerial, they're just all farming it. The 907s are just going to continue right on through. They are bleeding big time the entire time through though.
Yeah, you can see the 277s and the Chieftains trying to come in on that 5 line low ground. Tank Destroyer and the EBR is able to get up.
Magma's going to go down here shortly.
And they have to focus.
Tank Destroyer did go ahead and take the hill completely. So now they have that EBR to just HE pen things from behind against those 907s. The Chieftains are just going to go ahead and clean them up, while Clap God, Ali, and Mighty are just able to hold, and Spooky are just able to hold everybody off on that E line.
The tank count about even, the HP count about even as all of this is going on, but when all is said and done, DEVI's going to have the superior position, I think, but they're going to have less guns alive. So you can see Mighty Pacifist goes down. Zerial's in a sketchy spot, but now all of the Mahou tanks have to come forward, and if they can do that effectively, they can win this, but you can see the middle...
Zerial taking
Mahou
a big
had to go
hit.
back to stop those 97 from staying behind those houses, and when they did that, they gave up the middle line, and all of these heavies from DEVI were sitting up there just firing the whole time. Tedster is a one-shot. They are pushing forward. They are trying to focus out Baron. Tedster goes down. They have to kill Baron.
Big Guns, Geo and Spooky all going.
Look at the battle boys. Look at Buzzuk, look Baron, look Shifterino, look Alka. Look at how they're just on top of each other. And how they're ready. The second one of them starts getting focused, they're gonna do it. Meanwhile, Big Guns is not able to shield his friend. Spooky Dookie's not able to shield his friend. This is the fight I was talking
Baron
to you
is gonna go. Yeah, Baron's gonna go down to Tank Destroyer. He managed to take control of that hill, but he didn't. You know, it'll be interesting to see exactly how much damage he got, but he didn't. He wasn't really able to get out the damage that he needed to. I think they won that overmat. They won the hill, and then I don't think they managed to take really advantage of it.
That was effing tastic game.
That
was the best game of the series.
Absolutely.
You
haven't
guys
seen a
watch
gameplay like that in a
four
long
times
time.
over. You will notice something different each time. I guarantee it. Look at that brawl. Now there is definitely, we can pull up Daki's VOD or Knights or some of the Mahou guys' VOD. There's going to be calls in there. It is almost all going to be decided by Buzzuk talking to Shifterino, talking to Spooky Dookie, talking to Geo. Like, it's all that type of communication, and then knowing how to play off of each other more so than, hey guys, shoot that guy. Hey guys, shoot that guy. Right? Like, it's not just, hey guys, I called for us to push middle.
No, like the one thing that you have to remember is when top clans play, it's very rarely silent. All you have to do is watch some of these streams when they play Clan Wars, when they play tournaments like this. They never stop talking to one another, and it's not information that is irrelevant. It's all pertinent to the game, and that was a textbook case of a brawl that could have gone either way for a majority of that fight. It ultimately came down to either a mix of RNG, a few missed shots, or better focus fire.
Chemistry.
But it was incredible and really fun to watch.
Yeah, and some of it is just understanding that some of the guys, like, that push over the middle with the 907s is designed to break up the formation, and people now have to come back and deal with me. The way the Southern Cliff usually deals with it is they sometimes have some tanks sitting in the back, either a sniper tank or they just kind of have some reserve positions in order to kill some of those guns so they don't have to leave. Because when Mahou had to disengage some tanks to go there, DEVI didn't disengage anything. Everyone was just pushing forward, and they were just on that ridgeline with high DPM tanks, just punishing the enemy. And a lot of people, when they listen to those comms, I've had this before, they may not understand everything that's being said, so they think it's chaos. It's a chaotic comm. And that may not necessarily, that can be the case sometimes, but sometimes it's usually, like you said, valuable information. And being able to discern some of that and understand that if they're in sync with each other, it's actually, no one's quiet. No one's like comms. Just listen to Daki while this brawl's going on. No, they have to be communicating.
Yeah, and then obviously that worked well. I mean, and looking at just the after battle results, you can see that the two tanks that managed to stay on the hill, Hillary and that STB, he managed to pump out 4,100 damage and 3 kills. Meanwhile, Tank Destroyer and that EBR only managed to get 1866. Now, the EBR doesn't have great DPM, but he wasn't either he wasn't harassing Hillary enough, or something was going on, but he wasn't able to get the same damage out, even though he was in a position on the opposite side of the hill from where all of the rest of his teammates were, and nobody was paying attention to him.
Yeah, some of that is the EBRs need to stop the other EBR. If they don't have an EBR to stop the other EBR from taking it uncontested at the beginning, it becomes a thorn in your side, and you have to play it and adjust to it.
Oh, absolutely. What I'm saying is, once they took the hill, he didn't capitalize on it, or the shots that he took missed.
Yeah, He just some of the positions that what you call it, the DEVI were in, kind of make it impossible for him to do anything. That's kind of the awkwardness of the hill. If it's from the other side, it's just difficult. And the battle didn't last long enough for it to really work out. But yeah, you're right. It's a tough job, man. Being an EVR driver in
It definitely
you're
is.
scared of dying.
Well, it's so
yeah.
fragile, it kills itself more often than an enemy team kills it.
But
And,
you are
you
right
know,
about Hillary. Hillary
I mean,
pumping deep.
he was able to just sit on that hill and just hit the shots that he needed to hit and wasn't harassed for it. And I ultimately think that that's really... Like, if you go back and watch the VOD, if I remember correctly, Hillary was the one that was really pumping out the damage and those kills with that STB DPM on Mahou as they were trying to push out Baron and Bazooka.
Yeah, and some of these... Someone said this is why I like Clan Wars, or why I like playing Clan Wars. The beauty of that battle, too, is you can never rest on laurels of, like, I've always been good before, or we always win Cliff, or we always win... At the start of each battle in one of those games, you're starting from zero. You don't get, like, you know, kudo points for winning before. Like, this next battle, if it's done the exact same way, hey, all cards are on the table. You know, you may have made your shots last game, but you still have to make them this game to win again, right? And that's really the good stuff. It's always a fresh battle. New game starts. You lose today, you win tomorrow. All that jazz. DEVI from the south, bringing 3 Object 277s, 2 Chieftains, 2 4 7, 6 907s, 3 STBs, and 1 EBR. And what are Mahou?
Little bit heavier of a comp, it looks like. 1 less STB from last time, but they're bringing 3 277s, 4 Chieftains, 3 907s, 4 STBs, and 1 EBR. Again, just to counter that other EBR as they try to take the hill. And it, you know, both teams set up for that brawl, and it looks like that's exactly what we're going to get yet again.
Can I just say, I'm loving this STB meta. It's great. The STB buff, how long ago was it?
Oof.
6 months? 9 months?
Probably 6 or 9 months at this point, giving it that hydropneumatic suspension and
yeah, because
just
before
really
that,
helping it out.
Gee golly willikers, I was hoping that tank would get buffed for a long time, but it has its niche now. The lower alpha as well allows it to have a really nice rate of fire.
And both of them are going to stop. Mahou already pre-aimed. Henna's almost getting slapped for that, but knowing to stop right on time. Ooh, big HE hit though. Hana's taking some big damage from that.
Slight change here. Look at 01 going in his 907 to that old Gold League position. It's a crossfire position to neutralize part of that hiccup on the 5 line. And here comes the brawl. Neither team going for a 1-line option.
No, neither of them. And 01, while he is back there, he's having to shoot at hull down STBs and Chieftains. So Night 1 and 0 taking the hill. Look at that.
Oh my goodness, that is the death zone where Clapcon and them are because they weren't able to put 5 line. Cannot go there. That is death, death, death.
And they are just now getting completely farmed down.
Yeah, DEVI, when they were on the north, they were like, we have to send everything to the 5 lines because we cannot halvesies this. You have to go all in because if the enemy comes there, you have nowhere to... It feels safe. You're on the inverse of this slope, but you are not safe. You can see so many tanks going down from Mahou, and the game was over right then. Right then. Second you saw all those tanks on that 5 and that E
that immediate
6,
push, yes,
they're
absolutely.
Just dead. Dead.
It was just a pure wrap right around the corner. And DEVI showing once again why they are the top clan on the EU server.
So yeah, again, if you are going to go there, you need to have heavy tanks. Then you push up and you need to hold them there. And that is not an easy thing to say to win. And in order to do that from the other side, the way DEVI was able to do it is that they pushed their 907 straight across, right? So when they pushed their 907 straight across, the southern team, Mahou, wasn't able to pressure up on the 5 line in the way that DEVI just did from the south. So you can see kind of how those slight, you know, both tanks in 14, 15 tanks in the middle, done completely differently.
And with that, the series is actually tied up 3-3 Mahou DEVI. Now, that is the last battle on Cliff, so we will be going over to Sand River, which both clans have very good histories on.
Yeah,
so,
but I'll be honest. Let's see if we can whisper the admin. Can we just like make the rest of the games Cliff? Would both teams be okay with that?
I mean, just watching those brawls. I mean,
let's have a Cliff tournament next time. Let's see. Let's start a petition, guys, for Wargaming. Let's just have a Cliff Clan Wars special. How about that?
I would be more than okay with that. Just the brawls. I mean, it really... Mahou didn't do well that round, but they also didn't do anything super inherently wrong, if that makes sense. Like the brawl, they got out positioned because because DEVI was able to take that
Their
5-line point.
5-line was wrong from North. They did much better from the South in general. From North was wrong. I had to learn that the hard way, and let me just say, many niceties were exchanged between teammates when we would lose people there. I'm remembering many years ago, and it was just, I think I remember Militant maybe being the one, he's a very blunt man, and just being like, Germ, if you put me there, I'm going to die every time. Stop it.
Sometimes being blunt is what is needed, though.
Yeah, and that's why with that initial, I knew immediately with the amount split there, like those guys were just, it's got this weird psychological thing where because of the way the hill terrain works, it feels safe on the north side, but it isn't really. They're able to isolate each gun, and you're not able to share HP there. Yeah,
and as we go through, this, I mean, you can see right away why. Also, DEVI managed to do the damage that they did. 9 shots, 8 hits, 8 pens. They made those shots count the way that they needed to.
Yeah, so like you said, I'm going to update my scoreline. It is a 3-3 scoreline. And we will be moving to Sand River. Now, although I did say, yes, Cliff. Like you said, both teams really good at Sand River, and I haven't talked to Knight or any of the Mahou guys lately about it, but my experience was Sand River was their strongest map. They didn't look particularly great on it against Atlas, but they didn't look particularly great on any map against Atlas. Historically, though, I've been beaten by Mahou personally enough times on Sand River to say I don't.
They know what they're doing. It should be a fairly interesting matchup between these two. Now, again, they are on the EU ping, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how that manages to adjust things for Mahou. But I'm looking forward to it, honestly. The series is already much better than the last one you and I both had the time to watch. And they're definitely giving everybody a decent show. The last time there was a decent fight between NA and EU, or NA and EU, it did not go this way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it is a 3-3 scoreline here now. I know some people are confused about the scoreline. Yep, 3-3. That was dominant by DEVI. Again, I really wish we had the tools to kind of go into instant replay.
I do as well.
I would love to do that. Again, if you are trying to improve in Clan Wars and you want to simplify some of it, and you're a caller or you're just trying to improve, watch both of those battles 5 times. Hey, the fight is only about a minute long.
It appears we were on the wrong server.
Just look at the nuance and look at some of the things going on. And especially since it sounds like we've got comms from guys like Daki, so you can watch their perspective, and you're going to have some Mahou guys that are streaming as well. You can get their perspective, and you can compare and see what what one side may know that the other side doesn't. That's really, that can be really useful to try to improve and get better. Yeah, we are, believe
we're switching over to EU1. It looks like we were logged into EU2.
Okay.
So I believe that might have been the reason why it didn't pop up as a possibility. But just talking about the maps, like you said, we've got Sand River next on EU, and then we will switch back to the North American server for Prokhorovka. And then if the battles continue to go on, we will switch back to EU for Karelia, and if they go all the way, there will be a tiebreaker game on Malinovka to tie everything together.
Yeah, and it looks like, yep, the battle has popped. Let's see the timer.
Good. Looks like we have 5.5 minutes or 6 minutes or so until the battle starts. So we do have a little bit of time.
Got a bit of time. So yeah, Sand River. Let's talk about Sand River for a bit. Now, Mahou has traditionally gone with a lot of splits, and I felt like last time when Atlas was playing Mahou, they kind of didn't play them like a fiddle on one of the sides. They knew that Mahou liked to split, and Mahou's over-aggress themselves. We talked about, people gobbling up real estate when it's given to you. Sometimes on maps like Sand River, and even on maps like Steppes, where it may be given to you, but that doesn't mean you necessarily want to take a bite out of it. Because Mahou ended up really overextended with a lot of tanks committed. kind of like how Steps worked out, where DEVI got overcommitted with tanks, where they couldn't actually switch, right? Like they couldn't switch sides, they couldn't rotate. You need to be careful of that, but yeah, we'll see. A lot of Leopards have been played by Mahou on this map. A lot of Prosciuttos have been played by Mahou on this map. We'll typically see a bunch of Chieftains, a couple of already each side, 1 to 2.
Well, it's a map that suits NA almost, in the sense that it's a much more finessed map. It requires better angles. It requires, better knowledge of the map. Now, that DEVI is exceptional when it comes to that. So
yeah,
it will be more interesting.
DEVI's necessarily weak at it. It's that DEVI definitely excels, as you saw in Cliff, at brawling and out brawling. It's like if we put 4 guys on this corner and you put 4 guys on that corner, DEVI's confident their 4 guys are going to come out ahead. And that's on a map like Sand River. That advantage could be negated, except when it comes time to push.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see exactly how everybody adapts to each other.
So yeah, but the first 2 games on EU, we could also look at it this way. DEVI won pretty decisively. And they did, lose 3 out of 4 on NA. But Sand River, this is the turning point. It is tied. It is 3-3. Is it going to be 5-3 one side going into the next map? Or is it going to be 4-4? Is each side going to win one? If I were to guess, golly, I don't know if I can guess.
Yeah, I don't, had you asked me that at the beginning, I'd say we'd be done by now. But, I mean, both teams have shown that they're willing to really fucking show up and, fight each other in a way that not everybody was expecting.
DEVI on Cliff was different than DEVI on Himmelsdorf and Steps. A fire was lit somewhere, and they came out all guns blazing. They brought it, so to speak. Oh god, and they played really, really well on Cliff, and they're riding high on confidence. Meanwhile, there isn't anything more demoralizing to me than losing on Cliff in a 15-on-15 brawl decisively twice in a row, because you feel like, oh god, we're just getting slaughtered. And like if it comes to a fight, we're just gonna lose. If there's ever a coin flip, we're just gonna lose. Like they're just gonna outplay me somehow, or they're gonna outplay him somehow. And Mahou have a lot of experience. They've played a long time. Question is, do they have the perseverance to kind of do what DEVI just did, which is, hey, those maps happened, they're over. Cliff now. Is Mahou going to be like, hey, Cliff happened, it's over, Sand River now? I know it's easier said than done. It may sound silly to say it like this, but believe it or not, a lot of players have mental issues and difficulty doing that and not just going on full tilt setting and something doesn't go their way.
No, that's absolutely true. It'll, Mahou picked up those 2 Himmelsdorf games, and now DEVI has picked up the 2 Cliff games. And each of them going 1-1 on Steps. I'm very, very pleased that we have a real fight to watch between these 2, because
absolutely, this is fantastic.
It's a situation that I don't think NA has been in for quite a bit. The joke is that the NA server's dead. That NA in 2020.
Hey, what is dead? What is dead may never die.
I was just thinking that. Absolutely.
It's been a meme for many years. But yeah, we got about 1 minute till we go into battle here. I'll go ahead and tab into game. We got 1 minute and 6 seconds. I'm not sure which side's on defense. I guess it's Mahou. They are side 1. But we will see when we're in game. Sometimes that lies.
Yeah, honestly, I forget the one that we were just watching, which side was which, because it was just, Cliff, it's a brawl. But
I always get Cliff mixed up in my brain, because in old attack defense, South was attack, North was defense, and in Clan Wars, North is attack, South is defense. So there's just problems, and I think that even may have been swapped once or twice. So I just kind of roll with it. But I'm excited because right now it means that we are 100% going to Prokhorovka, no matter what. So even if one of the sides wins the next 2 battles, we will be switching back to the North American server for Proc, and possibly Karelia after that back on EU. couple of more good open maps. A lot of different types of maps being played. Proc will be more flexy, more macro, even with possibly a big push. But Sand River, ooh, lots of disjointed parts, and we'll just see how they play it as we go into game. Thank you guys. Sorry for the delay. As we start DEVI, bringing 2, 4, 6 Chieftains, 4 907s, 1 Prosciutto, 2 EBRs, and 2 C. Mahou are bringing what?
4 Chieftains, a 430U. What is that? 2, 4, 6. Jesus, almost half their team in 907. 7 people. 2 EBRs, and then of course Tedster in the GW. So Mahou on the defense. It does look like they elected to bring quite a mobile comp, but with an Artie that can still hit like a truck.
The only thing I can think of with the 430U is a very specific niche spot. It used to be at that mosque in the town. A lot of times people would stick a 430U in there. And as I say that may be where he's headed. I'm not sure.
It does look like he's making his way there, but he's going kind of the opposite way that you would go to get there as fast as possible.
Yeah, and you can see the scout loops coming out here from Alpha and Serial do a little.
Only getting 2 of those Chieftains lit, though. So,
yep.
Not necessarily the best light run. All of those mediums in the back from Mahou did manage to stay safe and stay hidden.
Yeah, and you can see the artillery getting a couple of shots out. Here comes the second onto Ali, and he goes down another
big hit.
5.
600 HP gone from Ali without a return shot from Mahou as of yet.
So how many of those tanks got lit? I'm not sure.
I don't think those Brumeds did, in all honesty.
So
currently you have Aqua just chilling, but you know the Chieftains got lit, but I don't think those 907s got lit from Mahou, and if that's the case, then they're going to get into these positions to kind of get shots onto Alqua pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure that's too big of a problem, because you can see that there's the South group at J1, the Chieftains, but it's just a split on both sides, and we'll just see how it goes, because that 907
big Artie hits. Big Artie hits coming in on Tank Destroyer right there. Ooh. But Hannah's taking a hit in return.
Yeah.
Both of them down to almost 1 shots for each team.
Yeah. Tank Destroyer can go down in 1 shot, and I think
Hannah's is like 2. And DEVI is making the push. They are going to go ahead and make that move with those Chieftains to take control of the ridge.
Get the connection here. Will Comey line it up? Not roll badly. Oh, I guess Tank Destroyer went dark. Oh, he does take it.
And he does take a shot for it, though. Spooky Dookie and Skytrain in the back able to get some shots in.
You can see, meanwhile, A78 has been taken by Mahou. You can see the 907 where Magma is not actually like that exposed. He's in a little divot. The only time he gets a little bit threatened is if the enemy team is really pushing that whole half of the map or taking the whole middle. But they can't. But the enemy team can't really take the middle because DEVI has the south. See Knight here driving in, making some pressure. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to push up here, because you can see the E-line is being pushed now, and you can see Magma is disengaging a little bit further.
Knight is going to get caught out by 01 here. And he is going to bleed quite a bit for it as well. Aqua coming in as well. It looks like Knight is going to go ahead and die.
Yep,
most likely get picked up.
For that.
Oh, shots coming in from the EBR, though, at the Brigetto, getting some shots in. And Aqua bleeding a lot of HP, but just enough to keep Knight alive and push the Brigetto off.
Yeah, there's not that much from Mahou up here to really keep pushing. They're committed now with Knight, and Swamp Cabbage and company can disengage, sort of, but there's nowhere to really go to. There's nowhere to really push and pick. They wanted to pick something, but there's nothing to pick.
Well, it looks like Big Guns is going to go ahead and move up, and Ali is taking that position on the ridge to be able to get some shots in at the Brigetto as well. So they are moving to support him now, and I don't think that it was really a. I think it was more of a feel-out to try to see what they could take of the map in the north. Again, keep DEVI guessing which way they were going to go.
Yeah, Nico going down to 888 HP in the middle as well. Swamp Cabbage still full, but yeah, you said Big Guns is here, and he's going to try to pressure these guys out. As long as he has support to where they can't both rush him and kill him. And ooh, they did not see him coming.
No, they did not.
Bounce there.
Missed shot, though, unfortunately, not able to capitalize on the surprise. But now Magma is alone versus Big Guns. O2 taking 2 big hits again, down to 780.
Yeah, and we'll just see. I mean, DEVI is eventually going to have to 6 minutes remaining. There's lots of time. But this is just it's a split of the map, and
It's a crossfire everywhere almost.
Yeah, everything's kind of like on a hair trigger. Like there's not an overcommitment by either side to anywhere, and both teams, you can see here, Big Gun's going to take a hit from artillery, from Padger, bing bang bong, and yeah, any one of these isolated fights could go one way, but a lot of Mahou's tanks are more committed than DEVI's. But again, Mahou's on defense, and they're playing a more aggressive defense. They're
playing an aggressive defense with tanks that can flex relatively quickly if needed and have high DPM. So it's a situation that, like, if DEVI decides to make the push down that one line, you know, they can easily move the 907's Swamp Cabbage Man in the middle and, who was it? Nickel in the middle. They can farm that entire push. You know, they've got the Chieftains in the back to hold them up. Tedster now just clearing 3k damage in that GW by himself.
Now I remember why Tedster's on my ignore list.
Tedster, man. You hate the dude when you're against him. You love him when he's on your team.
Yeah, just poking fun at Teddy. He's the arty specialist for Clan Wars for Mahou typically. And yeah, you can see this fight here with Big Guns and was it the 907? I just forgot who it was. Magma. Is mostly an arty fight. Magma can't win that fight doing it, and also both of them have to peak high enough to where the guns from D2 can shoot at Big Guns. Meanwhile, where Ali is, he can support if the 907 were to pressure.
Hana's making a run down to try to get some mine, but he is not going to commit. First kill of the game, actually, now with the 6-minute mark, and Lady Nickel going down. Swamp getting out of that middle area. It looks like they are kind of adjusting back in order to get the crossfires a bit tighter. But it does look like the arty... Nope, he did miss Magma.
So both of them are a 1 to 2 shot, and you can see Hillary is pushing up, and the HP overall in DEVI's favor, about 2,000 HP lead. And DEVI is up 1 tank, and they do have 2 artillery, so that's a pretty significant HP advantage overall. Now, Mahou did bring a bunch more 907s, but still, that's a big HP advantage, and I think that you can see the K-line as well. You can see the EVR going down there, K78. It's just overall, I think DEVI's in a better spot. The question is, when they get this advantage, Big Guns will die in a second, and there he goes. It will just... Can they then capitalize and push it further? Because it's still Sand River and there are still defensible positions.
The 907s are going to go ahead. It looks like Mahou's 907s are taking A0 again. Yeah, and it looks like they're going to actually make a push to push out the Brigetto and the 907 down on the A line. That would be my guess with all those tanks going up there. They've almost completely abandoned the completely abandoned the D7 corner. Knight is in that little pocket that he has to get dug out of now. But, you know, it's a situation where they're exposed to arty.
Mahou's way, and they're kind of doing something crazy because they kind of have to. They're
kind of a
not
Hail
in the position
Mary
they wanna
at
be.
this point.
Yeah, it's a Hail Mary, exactly. And now this push is spotted out, and the prosciutto will go down. He's going to try to get out as much damage as he can before he dies.
Probably 2 shots.
And you can see the K-line push is happening at the same time. At K8, you can see them coming into the base, and is there enough from Mahou to stop that? I don't think so. This is most likely a DEVI win. It's just going to depend on this little push here. Can they pick Hillary, Bazak, Magma? Can they kill them? Maybe put cap pressure, something like that. If they can, before this K-line push is mopped up, something miraculous could happen. But
ultimately, you got to remember those 2 arty, they are in the game, but they are too, you know, it does limit it. And it is a Mahou win if it's a draw.
Yes.
So
that's
you know,
the other thing. So Mahou actually not in as bad of a spot that they're
no, and the
have
chieftain
in
K0 is still alive. DEVI has to focus and use tanks to actually get him out. And Tedster the man is still alive and able to get resets
he's
if
probably
necessary.
Flipped himself. Oh my
no,
God,
he has not. He gets the reset.
Tedster getting the kill and multiple resets there. Oh God.
Literally what DEVI need, or what Mahou needed at this moment.
He can't get this next reset though. That's the only reset he's able to get. Someone else has to get this reset, and honestly, I think they should be able to with 17 seconds. They should be able to. Zero Hate coming in, Zerial and Knight all coming in. They're going to try to get that Hail Mary shot. There comes the arty shell, most likely from one of DEVI's arty. There's the reset. They get one. They need another one. Ted, I think,
another
will load in a moment. Oh no, he is dead now.
Yep, Tedster has died.
This is a Mahou win. Oh my goodness. As long as Ali doesn't get himself killed. Or actually, no, Tank Destroyers.
Tank Destroyer just needs to... The 2 EBRs from Mahou need to have killed their arty like 20 minutes ago at this point.
They still need resets, though. They still need resets because there's no cap pressure. The EBR actually will be able to get resets as long as he doesn't die. Oh, no. Oh, they got one, but he doesn't have
not the tank that needed. Shifterino and Kami do have it.
There's the shielding. Very, very good play by Rick. Rick did not have any cap points. He got on the cap later. He was shooting, and he presented himself as the easy cap reset, even though he only has like 5 cap points. So really well done by DEVI. Really well done by Mahou. That was a very good
close game at the end. Unfortunately, I think it ultimately came down to the fact that those EBRs were unable to, like the arty shells that just came coming in from Nyx and oh goodness, what is his name?
Yeah,
the other DEVI arty
They
player.
should have just gotten on the cap and started the clock the other direction, but I don't know if they could have gotten on it fast enough to make a difference. If they could have, then that may have been enough, because then they didn't need cap resets till the timer ended. They just need cap resets until their 2 would get it. You can see your Nyx with 3,800, Padger with 3,400, the 2 artillery. Oh, 323 friendly damage I see from Padger there. Bazuk doing 2,500. You can see it drops off a lot for DEVI. You were really right about the artillery. Look
Yeah, I mean, if those EBRs had been able to eliminate the arty, not early on, but before they had to come in to get resets, I wonder how much, how much of a difference it would have been.
And you can see Magma at the bottom there in damage, but Magma, remember, with the 907 eating all. See Big Guns doing 0 damage on the other side. They were just having staring contests while the artillery got to farm each of them on the
Tedster with 4K by himself.
Yep. And we have about 2 minutes till the next battle. Let me update the scoreline.
Absolutely. I've gone ahead and done the same.
Back, forth. Both sides had opportunities to win and to lose that game.
They really did. Like, both teams really...
And Mahou, I think, were down quite a bit. And they brought that back to almost winning it. And I thought they were going to win it for a little bit. But they really brought it back. They were down. Plan A did not work. Plan A did not work with Big Guns. Plan A did not work over there. They were not trading efficiently, and they did that Hail Mary, and that Hail Mary almost, they got to like the 2-yard line. Like they almost made it. But DEVI did really well, and yeah, kudos to them. 4-3 scoreline. Get ready for the last battle on Sand River. This time, DEVI will be on defense. So that is a DEVI victory on attack on Sand River, remember. $40 seconds. Let me switch on over. Yeah, these last 3 battles have been great. Some have been close, some not so close. Gonna have to see on this one. Mahou have traditionally on attack, they've done a couple of different things, but they like that middle aggression with the splits of leopards or prosciuttos or 907s kind of around. We'll see if they do something like that. They did something like that against Atlas, and it did not work out in their favor. We'll just have to see if it works out this time.
And we will be going in 2 seconds.
Here are the lineups for DEVI on defense, bringing 1 IS-7, a lot of Chieftains, 2 907s, 2 EBRs, and 2 CGCs. And what are Mahou bringing on their attack?
And for Mahou's attack, we do see, what is that, 7 Chieftains, another Leopard 1, 3 907s, 3 EBRs, and then Tedster in the CGC. So again, Mahou electing to go quicker than DEVI, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how much damage Tedster is able to put out when he has 3 EBRs to spot for him.
One thing that surprised me a little bit is DEVI has not been afraid on a lot of these maps to bring 2 artillery. When I was like, I get a little scared. I mean, I understand it, but they've been bringing 2 artillery a lot on these open maps.
And Mahou with the 3 EBRs directly into the south, they are just going to go directly for Hanez and pick him immediately. That's the entire play of this. Here they go. Are they going to go over?
It's a scary ridge to go over.
Maybe. Nope. They turn around. They turned right around. They wanted to. They were going to if Hanez had committed, but.
Well, what they've done is they've stopped Hanez from going over that next dune and doing scout loops in there to spot out everything.
And so, here comes Mahou's Chieftain group. They are I don't think lit by Hannes, but they are going to go ahead and get into a position where they can just farm out those chieftains as they try to repush.
So yeah, it's
was a
all in
good
south
move.
of both sides right now. Look at the push coming in. They will take some damage, and then these guys from Mahou though are going to be very, very committed. And remember, Mahou is on attack. Are they going to continue to crest over? Because this is everything from DEVI is here. The I-7 is coming back from the north.
Big already hit coming in. Those chieftains are going to just bleed. Oh, fire on Spooky Dookie. Burning and no extinguisher.
Jeez,
taking 1,600 damage in one shot. Ouch.
Yeah, this is not looking great for Mahou.
But interestingly, only 4,000 HP difference still. I mean, the north. There go the EBRs.
The trio have arrived there. They've taken the ground that was being held by, I believe, Alka up there, and now the weak side is becoming the strong side for Mahou. So, oh, look at all this.
Big arty shells coming in. 600 damage done by Ted Stewart to those two chieftains. Spooky now almost dead.
At one point or another, just go over.
I mean, this is a situation where, you know, their big guns taking some big hits as well. Yep, here comes the push.
Echelonning, they're doing the push. Easy goes down first. They're trying to protect Spooky. He's the one shot, but here's the thing. All these chieftains could just shoot another guy and kill him too.
Yep, that is true. Just the alpha damage from all of them.
Ollie down now. Swamp Cabbage is the only one alive there in that pack. Meanwhile, no dead tanks. As I speak, that Skurga, the caster curse, is dead. The north, I'm not really sure what's going on, but the 907.
It looks just like an E2 EB3 EBRs against two EBRs and a 907.
The HP lead slightly in DEVI's favor, around 10,000 HP up.
Just slightly.
So yeah, decisive play. Mahou kind of went all in the south, and I think it was again sort of like one of those wagers of, well, maybe they won't. Oh well, that was interesting. Stunt. That was cool. All right, guys, that was clearly coordinated by all parties. the EBR jumping over the other one. But yeah, that was I think they were going all in south to have a brawl and hope to pick a couple of tanks that could go there and just, you know, let the chips fall where they may. But
I think it was an interesting move by Mahou because they ultimately got into a bowl and just let their arty farm it. I mean, Padger and Nyx have got to have cleared at least 3k each of this game.
Yeah, that was really well done. So that'll bring us to a 5-3 scoreline, and that was a 100% win rate for DEVI on the EU server as well. Looking at the post game stats, Bazuk 3,700, Ghost 3,500, Comey at 2,800.
I mean, just those chieftains were able to farm out the damage that they absolutely needed to win, and the crossfire coming in from those 907. Interestingly, the Arty didn't actually do as much damage as I thought they would have done, considering how many chieftains Mahou had in that bowl.
Yeah, Tedster doing the most for the other side, though. But yeah, and you can see Skytrain there, and then nobody going after that. 1,200 being the next highest is just... It speaks to what happened in that game. DEVI was just commanding presence, in good shape, made it work. Let me update my scoreline, and I guess we will take another 5-minute break as we switch servers now.
Alrighty. We can go ahead and do that.
Alright. Well, we'll see you guys in about 5 or so. I will put on some music and we'll talk to you guys soon as we switch to NA and get ready for Prokhorovka.
Off we go. Welcome back, Jern.
Welcome back, Edge. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready to go into Prokhorovka. We've got about 2 minutes till battle time. Let me bring up my beautiful face. I'm somewhere around here. Where am I? I found me. Hi. Welcome back, guys. Yeah, we got 1:40 till next battle. Prokhorovka. It is a 5-3 scoreline. DEVI of EU, currently leading Mahou of NA. Yeah, we're back to the North American server. Prokhorovka, great map. A lot of things that you can do. It's definitely defensively favored, but it's an old map, and I think both sides have played it a bunch, and I'm interested to see what happens.
Absolutely, it's definitely a good competitive map. One of the few that are probably left in the game at this point. It'll be interesting to see exactly what they bring. We're kind of in a do or die moment a bit for Mahou, with having lost that series on EU now. They need to start clawing some wins back.
Yeah, this is do or die time. It's the North American server, so even if Mahou wins the next 2, it will be tied, and then they will be back to EU for, I believe, Malinovka for the next 2 maps, or next 2 rounds. So it is a best of 13, so the first team to 7 is the winner. Yeah, Mahou, realistically, not Malinovka, is it Karelia? It's Karelia.
Yeah, Karelia on
Sorry.
YouTube.
Malinovka, I believe, is tiebreaker. So Karelia, not a particularly attacking favored map. Realistically, Mahou needs these 2 on North America on proc. That's their best chance. We're getting ready to go in, so I'm going to tab into game.
Alrighty, and in 5 seconds, off we go.
We'll see who's on defense and attack, because things lie to us.
I think DEVI is on
attack. Oh no, defense.
Defense, yes, defense.
Yeah, attack is south. So, DEVI's defense, bringing 1279E, 5 chieftains, 5 907s, 3 EBRs, and 1 CGC. And what are Mahou bringing on their attack?
Well, they're going to bring that 1279E for chieftains, a whole host of 907s, no artillery, and 1 EBR.
Yeah, the no artillery is a pretty big gosh darn indicator. They're going to push.
That does give away that Mahou is going to play this very aggressively.
Yeah, even when playing it very aggressively, I find the 1 artillery in Prokhorovka is still strong. There is a problem, though, with artillery from the south in particular. And that is, there are 4, I believe, spawns. 2 are to the left, 2 are to the right of the spawn in the south. And the problem is, there's EBRs. And even when there were T100s, they could spot you if you had a bad spawn in particular artillery. You had to be fast already, and CGCs are not fast enough.
EBRs trading shots, and then Bix running face first into CU. Taking some damage to himself. Here come the 907s and chieftains. They are just going to go right in on the 6 line.
6 line up and over. You can see DEVI's defense pretty standard overall. It's a big split.
Mighty Passive is taking a lot of damage because he is the first over.
This 6 line push typically is to pick something. They will get shift to Reno, but that's gonna be it. They have to step up to get Magma and company. You can see all the chieftains now are just the firing line behind, and Clapgod pushing over into the other finger in the 4 line. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, because are those 907s on the 1 line going to be able to kill them? Here they go. They're going to spot out that ABR, or are they going to spot out that ABR with the 3 907s? Should be a little freeze stutter there. I don't. This is all in and very blind, and
it's kind of half in, half out. I mean, all those 907s going down bled so much HP.
They're going to die, and the game's going to end.
I mean, Giu is the only one left alive. He's got a wall of dead 907s in front of him now, but the 907s on the 1-2 line are now making the push in, and they're getting bled as well. I'm not entirely sure what Mahou was looking to do.
Daki's just chilling. He's waiting to spring his trap. He's loading HE, and he's going to shoot one of them in the butt. But even if Daki wasn't there, it doesn't matter.
It was just an easy light the entire way. I don't know what Mahou were expecting to happen on this.
Yeah, even if these 3 EBRs were not here, and that 907 wasn't here, those 2 chieftains alone would probably win that fight. It's a really, really powerful position in A2. You're setting up. If you see where they are right about now, where Nico is in Ghost, it feels like you should go up to there if you're hull down heavy. It's not. It's a trap. It's death up there.
Yeah,
Go back
it's
to A2
not a
with
good
that
spot.
berm hole. They can't get you. They have to go to A2 to kill you.
I'm not entirely sure what happened with this,
So
honestly.
it was just all in, and it didn't go well. I'm not crazy about it. There wasn't much scouting intel off of it. It can work if the enemy has enough tanks committed in on the 6 line, where everything kind of goes in your favor and you're able to get enough picks. But just getting... we're doing a little jerky celebration. But they only had Shifterino there, and that's the only thing they killed besides Han. So kind of shows you it just didn't work out. If there are 5 tanks there and they kill them, then that can work, but there weren't. If I were to do an all-in blind like that, to me personally, it would just be on the 1 line. I think it's the safest all-in you can do. It's still not that safe. Like, if you're doing a blind all-in push, that may be your best option, but that will be a 6-3 scoreline. DEVI, not to discredit them, I don't feel like they had to do very much to win that. They
No,
just had
they
to kinda
just
shoot
they
shoot
just
the
had
bad
to
guys.
sit there.
No decisions needed to be made. I don't think any calls had to be made. They just, there they all are, shoot them. Look at that farming from the 907s that were up on that A6 area and flexing around. One of them was on the 2 line, just easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That was probably the easiest win DEVI's had all day.
And with this, if DEVI wins the next game, that will be the end point for this series.
Yep, we are on triple match point. So Mahou needs next 3 to bring it to a tiebreaker. And they're going to begin that trudge on proc defense. So we saw how Mahou decided to play that proc defense, or sorry, proc attack. Let's flip the coin. You're looking at it as an impartial observer, and you're trying to see 2 different groups of people, how they approach the same situation. How does DEVI approach this situation, right? And this is on the North American server, remember.
I think DEVI brings a similar lineup to what they just had. I think they bring something that, can flex, but they bring the 1 arty to get the shots in where they need it. And they just trust, their EBRs to get the eyes that they need as well.
Yeah, and it's just going to be interesting to see how it works out. Because, I think that, if I were to be honest, they can do it a couple of different ways. They can go with a big split, similar to what they just did, where they kind of anchor the hill with 1 or 2 tanks, flex to middle. I think there'll be a few chieftains in the middle, no matter what. 1 will be in the middle finger, 1 or 2 will be on the 6 line finger, and there will be some tanks 1 line. And I don't think they're going to all in push at the start. Then they're going to make their decision, and they're going to push wherever they decide. It's going to be either take the rail side and the eastern half of the map, or it'll be push 1 line. And depending on what you see from the enemy team, you make your judgment and you go.
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what that was.
Yes, I am. I will make sure. I forgot actually to highlight the other battle from a couple weeks ago. I will make sure to do that. All this will be in the VOD if you are not able to watch catch any of the games earlier. They will all be there, so no worries. Got 1 minute 52 seconds. What do you think's gonna happen? I gave you my prediction on this battle. What do you think's gonna happen?
I think you're going to see a pretty standard comp from DEVI. Mahou has kind of been mixing it up, and they've been playing hyper aggressive. I'm hoping that they decide to slow it down and, actually think about it a little bit instead of just shoving right down in the blind push. But, it remains to be seen. But I don't know. Mahou hasn't put themselves in a tough spot by playing that game that way.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. They've done some hyper aggression today. Proc, I don't feel like Proc's the map for it. Steps, dude, I don't fault either side for their steps attacks. That's perfectly reasonable. I don't fault them for losing on Cliff either, other than, they can learn to play better or whatever, but I don't think the strategy was bad. Proc, it felt like a underhanded toss. That's very, very, very rarely should work. It really should. And the other thing to remember is the enemy's got an EBR scouting all of it at the start. So the reason why Shifterino was even back there in those bushes was, Hey guys, guess what? They're all coming middle. They're all going 6 line. Like, it feels like just a very easy game for DEVI to win. We've got about 30 seconds, so I'm going to tab into game.
Alrighty.
A little disappointing, but hey, don't know. Technically, Mahou is doing better than they did though against Atlas. They have 3 wins now.
That is true. They're actually doing better against EU, I believe, than every other time NA has played
Glass
EU.
half full. Yeah, and DEVI have played very, very well, as we would expect them to play. I think they had some hiccups earlier, but they as they've gotten a little more warmed up, they've been doing better and better each round. So
Mahou again.
Yeah, DEVI on attack, bringing 5 chieftains, 2 for 6, 907s, 3 EBRs, 1 CGC, and what are Mahou bringing?
Mahou 4 chieftains, 1 EBR, and the rest 907s. Again, it looks like another hyper-aggressive strat from Mahou. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to bring the artillery. I can understand not bringing it from south if you're scared of getting spotted and killed, possibly, but I still would probably roll the dice, or bring like a 261 or something faster that hopefully doesn't die. The CDC's not that slow. You can see the scout route is coming out, Big's coming into the middle, got the 2 EBRs going to the 3 line from DEVI. Daki honestly just scouting out, making sure nobody gets into E1 cheekily like he did. That's what his scout loop was designed to do right there. No EBR is going to be there.
Bix just to keep down Alqua in the middle. I mean, it looks like a fairly standard Prokhorovka strat at this point. They've got the 907s in the back to help keep down some of the EBRs. Spooky and Killa in the middle.
The 2 line are interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm expecting...
I want a counter push.
Yeah, it's a counter push that they're setting up for, or to absorb some sort of push, but...
But 907s in that position are not, like, I mean, they're not bad, but they're not great. And
it's just a ton of DPM is really what it is.
I don't know why you wouldn't want a chieftain there, because the chieftain's actually able to use that gun depression in that position. And
absolutely.
And if you're trying to absorb a push there, the chieftain is much better at it than a 907. They're able to put out more punishment, they will take more punishment. It's all better.
Now they do have those 3 907s. Yeah, they do have those 3 907s on the 6 line. It looks like they've realized that is the weak side for DEVI.
It's an all-in other side. They're going to flex completely out, and they're going to push 7 line and 0 line or some combination.
Here comes the risky spot. Will the chieftain spot those 907s as they cross, though? I mean, they're redlining it as hard as they can, but you know, it's risky to do that.
No, they will not.
Nope. Yeah, they get through.
They cannot spot from
Big already hit on Knight Rider right there.
It's too far away.
The EBRs, the 907s, they're just going right up the 6 line in those. Or are they stopping? Looks like they're stopping.
They're stopping to wait. Maybe one guy's going to probe up in the bushes, but they need to make sure that when they start moving, they'll get lit around the...
D6, D7?
C7, yeah, by the guy on the hill, so you can see that Zerial's going up there. He needs to push the EBR off.
You can see
not die while doing it.
Yeah, the Mahou Chieftains are going to go ahead and flex the 5-6 line in an effort to... Oh, and Mahou just dumped into the water. They're going to go ahead and sneak up through. They forced those EBRs back.
Here's the problem. So the second you guys are going to look for a trigger, the second those 907s are lit, depending on how many get lit, the device...
Those Chieftains are going to push right over the mid.
They're all going to flex K-line over, or they're going to push 2-line. And usually the safest bet is not to push 2-line until...
And they've been lit. It looks like they've been lit. Daki has gone ahead and he's moving those K-line 907s over, and it is going to be a 907 brawl in the hill area.
And now this spot at C0 is scary because it takes you a long time to get anywhere. If the enemy team were to just simply dump over middle on those chieftains, nothing can do anything. This whole time that these guys have been leaving since they left K6 or A6, one line is wide open, which means all the chieftains in the middle would die for Mahou if they were to be pushed.
And here comes the medium group. Are they going to go ahead and push right over to pick Hannes?
Have they stayed mostly dark here?
Yeah, they have. And here come the medium flex. It looks like they're going to go ahead and they're actually going to... It looks like they might have baited some of DEVI's 907s. Yeah, they're going to push Hannes. They're going to definitely pick Hannes right on this point.
Yeah, it's a question of will the chieftains be able to get enough punish, and will K7...
Here comes the 907 group. They're pushing on those chieftains. They're going to push right over. If those 907s can get some shots in on DEVI's 907s, they have a chance on winning them.
Right now, K2, those two tanks are kind of out of the fight unless they're just protecting their guys in the middle, which is what it looks like they're doing. Will they be able to stop this push? There isn't that many tanks from...
Big shots coming on a Kami. He's gonna, yep, he's gonna go down. Now the 907 group is just gonna rush Hillary and Ghost. There goes Hillary.
They were able to stay dark in those little intermittent areas.
That was expertly snuck up.
Yeah, this is looking more and more like a Mahou win.
This is a Mahou win, in all honesty, because again, Mahou is on defense, and they have complete control of the map now. DEVI has been boxed into that corner from F to K.
They rolled the dice after a little while. They just kind of said, you know, there was several minutes there where if DEVI were to push, it would have been a DEVI victory, but they didn't. And that was just all it took. And you see Mahou commanding lead, 8,000 HP advantage here. They're just going to steamroll over the remaining tanks. Too many tanks were left out of the fight for DEVI, and we will have
interesting
Mahou's
move.
Not dead yet.
Interesting move by Mahou, and you know they brought the same comp, so I'm wondering. I wonder if they got lit on their attack, and they just decided to go for the push since it had gotten lit. You know, the whole idea of it just being a sneak run.
Yeah, they kind of were in a position in this game where if the enemy were to be doing an all-in push on the one line, they would have likely been able to repel it. Mahou would have been able to because of the way they set up, so they kind of went there at the start to just be like, okay, we won't get lit here, and we'll just chill, and if they're going all in initially, we'll wait like 30 seconds. Didn't happen. Let's rotate. They did the rotation, and there was a lot of just, is Han on the hill gonna be to spot us at any point? If he was, then the trigger's pulled, but he didn't actually spot them until they got all the way up on top of the hill.
I mean, just the full flex back. I mean, they caught, I don't know if they caught DEVI in a kind of like a half flex, or if they got into a position, or if they just managed to catch half of the EBRs unable to, or half their 907s unable to support the other half of the 907s. But it definitely turned out to be, I mean, it was a well executed strat. The fact that they didn't get lit that entire time is just incredible to me.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to. And you can see the damage. Big guns with 4K. And only Padger in the Artie getting a lot of damage, 2,500. Then Barry with 1,900. Rick with 1,800. Then it just steep drops off, with some people getting nothing out at all. And yeah, we're going to be switching servers now. So we're going to probably put up another like 5-minute timer. Because we are going back to EU with a 6-3 scoreline. Let me update the scoreline. Because we are going to Karelia.
Yes, we are back to the EU server we go.
So Mahou didn't get the 2 wins they needed on this server, but they're staying alive. Can Mahou get the 2 wins on Karelia? Because they need them. They don't have a choice. That is the only option right now, is they need those 2 wins, and then they need to win the tiebreaker. So we're going to see how it goes. They have not won a round yet on EU. So yeah, we'll go ahead and throw on some music. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes, guys. Okay. We are back.
Yes, we are.
Let me put on my beautiful face. Bam. There we go. We got about a minute and a half until the next battle. It is a 4-6 scoreline. Mahou from NA with the 4. DEVI from EU with the 6. As we move back to EU, to the lands, the frigid North Karelia. It's a must-do, must-win game for Mahou.
Yep, as always.
Yeah, and they must won. Well, when they had to win, they won. And they won second battle of Rovka very decisively. Maybe caught DEVI off guard a little bit, off balance. We'll see if that continues into Karelia. Both teams should be pretty good at it at this point. They've both been playing it for years. And yeah, got 45 seconds here. We will see who's on defense first when we get in, but it really doesn't matter that much because
Karelia is not one of those maps that you really take defense. Well, you take defense into account, but it's not really one of those maps that we're going to see a lot of super defensive play, I don't think, from these two teams.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if both of them decide to, play south aggressively and see if one of the sides can possibly beat the other. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tab into the game. Got 15 seconds. Bam. There we go. Going to see the lineups. Expect to see a bunch of 907s, several EBRs from each side, artillery from each side, and probably some faster heavies, chieftains come to mind, but also some Russian heavies could be thrown in there, 260, 277s, things like that. But yeah.
Oof. Very different lineups.
Okay, I'm completely wrong. DEVI, though, were completely right for me. 2 chieftains, followed by 2, 4, 6, 8 907s, 3 EBRs, and 2 CGCs, and go ahead and enlighten me on.
Yeah, a little different here. We've got the 279E, we've got 3 705As making their appearance again, 2 Super Conquerors, a 57 Heavy, 4 Chieftains, a 907, an EBR, a T100, and a CGC.
T100, that's a blast from the past. One of my favorite tanks, but don't see the point in it anymore, except that I guess it wins a 1v1 against an EBR. I don't know. But yeah, we've got that's let's T100 aside, let's just talk about 705As for a second.
Yeah, an interesting move by them, but the 705A is pretty safe for Marty because of how armored it is and how big that turret is, but Hana's taking a big hit right off the bat from Tank Destroyer. Oh, another big hit coming in. Hana's down to 2-shot now right off the bat. 01, the same thing, down to 865. And it looks like Knight was just down there in that T100 to get eyes on the 0 line, but it looks like Mahou is going to go ahead and give DEVI the hill.
Maybe it's they are on the EU server, and it could actually be, hey, I'm the conservative light, and I don't flip my tank and with the wheelie boy. I've got a little ping issue. I maybe just want to play a T100 right now.
That is possible. Gives you that vision, but it does give up speed.
Yeah,
907's now shooting the blind spot locations where you would normally put Chieftains and Super Conk. Unfortunately, due to the render range of this, we can't actually see if they're making any connection shot. Doesn't look like they
exchanged. You can see the shells coming out. Yeah.
Looking at the map, though, it doesn't look like DEVI has any vision whatsoever because those EBRs took some big hits, so they're not really able to poke.
Yeah, so they're just going to be peppering, and that 705 in the north got to B4 because of Hans took so much damage. He really wasn't able to poke out, and that's a very forward position for 705A.
Oh, it absolutely is, but, he's one of those tanks you have to dig out again. Mahou is just kind of developing layers that DEVI now have to try to chew through with a whole bunch of 907s.
Yeah, it's an awkward spot because he's not able to flex too much, but at the same time, yeah, he's a 705A. He's not like high DPM, not high accuracy, but takes a while to kill. I guess that's the way to look at it. I mean, it could be a very position where you can poke out sideways where like maybe a 279 feels more scared to do it. That's my big thing is why 705A, why not 279 in some of those spots? That's where I'm trying to figure out.
My guess would be either the ammo rack of the 279 or the 705A is just, a little bit faster than the 279.
And you can see some of those 705As have taken some damage. Mighty Pacifist is down to half.
Yeah, he's taken a lot of damage, but at the same time, though, like, he also managed, that was at the very beginning of the game, he managed to get himself out of there. Zero taking a couple hits as well down to 1804.
Yeah, and Zero is in the spot that's the most interesting to me. Because again, the A5 position, not unusual, pretty standard for 705A or ISO tanks like that. Kind of sit there and be that layer of defense that tanks have to kill in order to push. DEVI just gonna, it seems like, play slow, methodical, use their clock, blind before they eventually have to push. They have 2 artillery that are just firing. If you look at the timers on the left, I want you to notice Padger and Comey and figure out when there's a time that they're not firing, because they are ready to shoot the next shot. Even if something's not lit, they're just firing at predetermined position.
Well, and they're keeping it on a full cycle, so as soon as one is ready to fire, the other one is about halfway through his reload. So it's just
Padger
constant
needs to
shells.
fire. Yep. And it's just soften up. We've got 6.5 minutes because, again, it is only a 10-minute game. It's not 15 minutes. They really need to make every second count. So,
And other than those 705As, no one. Mahou, I mean, they're in defensive positions, but they're not in the typical defensive positions. They're in positions that, like, if they don't have eyes, they're not going to see. And because those DEVI EBRs bled so much HP, if they get lit, they're going to immediately die. Like, you can see Algua now is going to go ahead and try to get some eyes in the north there, but, you know, he's in a position that Tedster can hit with Artie right there. Mighty getting lit, and looks like he takes another big hit down to 711.
all right, let's say the tank choice, the T-57. Oh, okay, now T-57 makes more sense to me. But like the 705As, the tank choice aside, it's a pretty standard camp, more or less. The right positions are being occupied, and then they just have to flex. It's a question of what tanks you want to bring. Super Conquerors.
Here comes the 907 move. They are going to go ahead and they're going to make that push on the 9-0 line, it looks like.
0 line push, yeah, and that T-57 actually is just down there in case someone gets in there. They have to deal with him. He's going to dump clip, but yeah.
Now they did get lit, so the 279Es are able to turn around, as well as that 907 in the mid. Will Mahou be able to capitalize on it, though?
Swamp Cabbage taking some hits, but he's not dead yet. And he has this rock here, and there's no one.
Big fire on Bazook as well. He's going to burn to 90 HP, and he's done. Lady Nickel back there. Brent, and now Swamp Cabbage Man. Oh, big hardy hit.
God,
Tedster, stop it.
Teddy.
Oh my god.
Teddy, I don't have the stomach for this anymore, but that
Swamp Cabbage Man finally
so
went
big.
down, but that was, you know, he distracted all of them for so long. And now that group of 705As is able to just pump shots into them because they're in such good position. DEVI losing a ton of HP. They're down 11,000 now. Down to 11,000.
They have half of Mahou's HP. This is Mahou's win. I mean, that push just did not work out for them, and
and here comes the repush from the Mahou Chieftains, and this is just going to be wrapped up pretty quickly.
it's hard to know exactly where every tank is, and here's the thing. Mahou actually had quite a few tanks dedicated north that were not going to be able to get out of there anytime soon. And the Zero line may have been the weakest route for Mahou to defend. But it just goes to show you how strong the defense is on
absolutely.
Corelli, because I think they were more set up for, we're going to do some unorthodox, cheeky stuff with our tanks in the north to kind of throw them for a loop.
And
but
can
in
we
the end,
can we
the
take
South still defended.
Can we take a moment to appreciate that shot from Tedster? Did probably 2,000 damage.
Nope. Let's move on.
We're just gonna ignore that and just go with it.
I don't want to relive.
I mean, that hurt me inside for the DEVI players that got caught.
It's all tensed up at this point. It's just like you feel it, you know. It's like you feel like it hit you. It like ripped out my soul. Ugh. But yeah, well done by Mahou. You can see the HP a little bit closer now, but I mean, Mahou...
It's still up by more than half of their HP.
Yeah.
They're up by, how many, 3-4 tanks at this point? It should, in all interest, be a Mahou game.
Yeah, it's...
And it looks like the 907s are just kind of going in.
Juice, one big shot, did not connect. Luckily, Ghost is not screwing around too
Did
much
Ghost
anymore.
DC, or did they just accept the loss?
Ghost is saying, go next. And as you can see, Tedster does not care.
Nope. Team damage. Who cares?
Yeah. And this time, you're not able to bounce that one. Good job, Gio. And yeah, it will be a 6-5 scoreline, meaning Mahou needs to win the next run on their Corellia attack. Now, we saw they did really well on Corellia defense, and Mahou have been good at Corellia too. And River. Can they do something unorthodox on attack? Because they did something unorthodox on defense. Are we going to see 705s on think so. But then again, I didn't think we'd see him on defense either. So
This is true. I mean, you know, it does seem like DEVI has had issues dealing with those 705.
yeah, I mean, every time they've brought the 705s, I think they've won.
I think so. I mean, both of the Himmelsdorf games and now this, so I think so.
I mean, that may not be the correct way to like look at, you know, producing a lineup going forward.
Oh, definitely not. It's definitely
that may not hold fast in all scenarios, but so and win rates. So
yeah, no, I mean, this has turned out significantly better than I think most people expected.
yeah, the RD are driving forward, are toying with the food and not finishing them. Looks like there's a lot of HE being exchanged. Mahou milking it. Oh, Hillary padding as well. So when we look at the post-game stats, we'll see just how much damage got put out. Good lord, this gun is so accurate, isn't it? It's not Super Conquer accurate. It's pretty daggone accurate.
What, the Chieftain?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the reason that like the Super Conqueror has the better gun, but the Chieftain has the armor.
Yeah, I've heard the Chieftain's pretty good. Like above average.
Yeah, it's just one of those tanks that if you need to flex, you use the Chieftain. If you need to hold a spot, you use the Super Conqueror.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did some 279 missions in it, or in the Super Conquer or something. But I remember when I got the Chieftain, I played it a few times. I was like, well, this isn't very much fun. It's just kind of strong.
Yeah, just a little.
I like more like, you know, I like 705A. I like being the ugly guy. Same thing with the 430U. It was the tank of my dreams, but it is too good. It's too good to have fun in. I want a little more challenging, a little more weird. But yeah, Mahou, decisive Karelia success, and a decisive Prokhorovka attack on the round before, or defense. Well, it was a defense turned into attack for round before. Yeah, we've got about 3.5 minutes till the next battle. It'll be a 6-5 scoreline. Let's see if we can see the post-game stats real quick.
Yeah.
Hillary padding hard at the end there with 5,000 damage. Congratulations to Hillary.
But you know, I mean, Tedster single arty 3K damage. Ali with, but
Ali
you know,
number 1, God Geo number 3, Zerial number 4.
I wish we had the ability to take a look at this because I'm curious what the hit to pen ratio was for those 907. I want to know how many shots they fired because I bet you they emptied most of their ammunition just blind firing at the beginning of that game, trying to get those shots in.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something to definitely note that you'll see good teams do is they'll do a lot of blind firing, but they'll never do it where they, you know, are giving away intelligence that the enemy team doesn't know where your tanks are, right? Like Mahou knew that they were on the hill and there's no way to really count how many tanks are there. And if they can get up HP, they should definitely be blinding. And you saw Mahou blinding back as well.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't think any of their shots connected on either side, but they were just able, like, Mahou was able to stall them for long enough that they needed to make a push, and getting those early shots, and yeah, here we go. Now we're going to get the opportunity to actually take a look at what DEVI did as far as their blind fire, but just keeping those light tanks, even though they didn't kill their EBRs at the beginning, just keeping their HP so low that the next time they got lit, they immediately would die, stalled DEVI very hard on this game.
Your lifeblood on that map are your light tanks, and if you get punished early, if one of them dies, or like you said, those big hits on Hans, it limits the aggression they're able to put out, because then it's like, oh, can he take a hit to get into this spot or get these eyes? And they weren't really able to. And you can see all the DEVI 907s at the bottom there. That was the push in the south that just
it fell apart once they got into that spot.
Updating the score. We have a 6-5 scoreline. Mahou slowly but steadily. Is this the comeback?
Definitely an incredible showing by both of these clans.
Daki's head getting shaven.
That's enough. That's reason enough for NA to win by itself, right there.
Look, I get that. Like, we've got some EU fans in chat, we've got some NA fans in chat, but there's one thing right now that I think all of us can. We'd all like Daki to shave his head, right? So, that being said, I know you may be partial if you're from EU to root for EU. maybe for the greater good here, we could just, throw the energy to NA, throw the energy to Mahou. This is the time, right? If there's ever a time, it should be now. We got 45 seconds. With that note, going into the next battle. What will Mahou do on attack? What will they do?
I'm hoping we see something similar. But, Mahou has been pulling it all out of everywhere. It's going to be interesting.
705As, 7 of them.
7 705As, 3 artillery, the rest EBRs. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. We'll see if Knight is also in a T100 again. I think it probably speaks more to they're scared of bringing EBRs with the ping.
Well, it's a smart move. If you can play something a little bit slower that still gives you the same vision, or if better vision than an EBR. And very different lineup from both teams, actually.
Yes, indeed. DEVI bringing 1 IS-7, 3 279Es, 2 Super Conquerors, 1 T-57 as well. And the rest are Chieftains. And that T-57, Bazuk, I guess, is probably going to be doing a similar thing to what Mahou did. What are Mahou bringing, though?
Well, Mahou has 4 260s, 2 Leos, 5 907s, an EBR, a Knight again in the T100, and then 2 CGCs. So Mahou is expecting DEVI to camp, but with those Chieftains, I mean, it doesn't look like they're... I don't know if they're going to really camp that much.
And there's a Spall liner for Old Kings, meaning he is going to be bait for artillery or for HE. No artillery, though, from DEVI on defense. I believe this is also the first time today we have seen a 260 from either side draw.
It is, actually. And the one thing about the IS-7 that you have to remember, not only
and
is...
maybe a little EU delay ping there, tank destroyer doing exactly what he meant to do, running into that wall.
Absolutely. Well, you were just talking about that 907 being arty bait. The one thing you have to remember is not only is the 907 got that good turret and it's able to survive arty hit, it's also got really good vision for a heavy tank.
Yeah.
So being down there, he can sit there, be hull down, and absorb arty hits and spot any attempt by Mahou to come up the 0 line. So it's actually a really good tank to put down there in that spot.
I've definitely, in some of the spots on this map and other maps, I've been the 279 or the IS-7 with the Spall liner. It doesn't help massively, but it does help. And if you're looking at a 10-minute clock and potential enemy artillery or HE spam, and your job is, hey man, you live there for 5 minutes, that's great. You live there for 3 minutes, it's not so great. You'll take any little edge you can get to just bleed time, because that's
absolutely.
your job.
And Spooky Dookie has gone ahead and taken the hill. He will be able to get some shots into that 907 or the IS-7 rather, from the roof into that pike nose, depending on how Old Kings pokes.
So yeah, a pretty typical split at the start from both sides. The I-7 in the south is probably the only thing that's kind of a little bit, maybe not usual, or at least what I'm not used to seeing, but you can see he's already down to 1490 HP. And DEVI does not have an artillery.
No, they don't. The long game is in favor of Mahou at this point.
See some blinds going out from Nico in his Leopard up at the typical camping spots, but I'm actually fairly certain that DEVI is pretty much not.
They're not in those typical spots at all, but when you have time.
Reserved. So another thing that you'll see from good teams is that when they know they have enough eyes forward that they know the push isn't coming, and they're just kind of sitting almost not pre-aimed on the corner. They're like a few feet away, sitting safe so that they can't get blinded in the typical spots, and then they're just ready to edge forward and put their guns on the target of the push line. As you can see, Old King's just being perma-lit here.
Yeah, he's never going to be able to get away without, bleeding a ton of HP. And with the 907 right there.
Do you guys know how close that Old Kings would have to be to this T100 Northern? I'm assuming there wasn't even a bush there. Like Knight can actually.
Oh, big hits! Even the Spall liner not really helping all that much.
Yep.
700
Knight
HP.
Here could drive another like 50 meters forward, in the open, do loop-de-loops, and he still wouldn't be lit by Old Kings. So even if Old Kings, I think, had binocs, he still wouldn't be lit.
The T100 is one of those tanks. It's just. It's so fantastic at what it does, which is just that passive scout roll.
Now, if he does fire his gun, he's 100% lit. But, yeah, Old King's about to, okay, he will not be named. Takes the shot at where he isn't. Still does 75.
And there goes Old
And,
Kings, IS-7 down. And that does leave DEVI pretty blind on the 0 line until they round that corner at G9.
3 minutes and 40 seconds. That's how long that IS-7 lived from the start of the clock. So he lived there for probably about 3 minutes because it took him 30 seconds to get there, right? That's not a lot of time. I think the spall liner and stuff, I'm not sure about the position overall. It seemed like it's really good to stop like HE shots coming in, but the second the Arties are shooting, I don't know how much time they bought. Maybe it's something I'm just not getting though with the thing because now Knight is pushed up.
It's just the methodical farm out now with the Artie. The Artie are going to start dropping on Alqua. There it is. There's one shot.
401. So yeah, you can see the HP overall. DEVI still up 5,000. 4,500.
But you know what though? At this point, those chieftains, as long as Knight doesn't get lit, he can keep that area spotted, and those Artie are just going to be able to rain down some pain on it, because the chieftain is just not... It's not good against Artie. It has very little roof armor.
Yeah, and very little side armor as well. And there's another 230, so tick-tock, 5 minutes left on the clock, and the HP is still about 4,000 in DEVI's favor, and a push has to come. Are they going to be able to make up 4,000 HP and then be able to push? Because even though they killed Old Kings, maybe just the idea was, hey, the artillery's not going to get that much punish out. We're just going to do a traditional turtle. We just need to have as much beef as possible. They brought a beefy boy lineup.
And Mahou has gone ahead and lit that 279E though, so I would bet that the Artie are going to start getting some shots into there as well. Tedster passing 3,000 damage already.
Yeah, he who shall not be named clicking on reload.
Just remember, boys and girls, Artie prevents camping. Sir told us so.
Working as intended. Ali, you can see in his 907, pushed up through the swamp a while ago. They're sectioning off the map. Eventually, the push is likely to come from the A line or the B line, going into that B7 area and pushing up in the on the lower end of that plateau.
That would be my guess as well. And it looks like it's going. Here come the 260s. They're going to go ahead and try to get underneath where that 57 heavy is.
The push begins at 4 minutes with the 260 spearheading, and it's going to depend on the shots from DEVI. Are they going to be able to get it? And
I don't think they've been lit yet, because DEVI hasn't adjusted for it. They're going to come around and they're just going to get shot after shot in 01 right here.
And
there it is.
Into that low ground, there's not really much to punish.
Like Bazook is now able to get some shots in as they cross, but you know 01 is going to go down here. Ali and Jew are going to get these shots. There he goes. 611, one more hit on him.
Very well for Mahou. That's as little bit of punishment as you could hope for, except Ali maybe getting a little too cheeky there, going for the kill shots there. They probably should have just let the 260.
But now Shifter in is now completely exposed. He's got two 907s behind as they try to push out those 260s that are just going to shoot into him. They're going to get farmed from the 907s on the hill.
Yeah, Bazuk taking shots from those 907s on the hill, like you said. He's down to 400. I think he thought, I just need to go dump the rest of my clip rather than back here. And
yeah, one more shot on Bazook and he's dead.
And oh god, and looks like
yep, there it is.
And you shall not be named getting the finishing shot. Now, they've made their play. The HP lead is only about 3,000 or so for DEVI.
Roughly so, yeah.
Echelon up here. There's 2 minutes 40 seconds remaining. How do you dig this out?
I think they need to kill Shifterino as soon as possible, and then they need to make a push on both sides with the tanks that they have remaining.
Yeah, this is the clock is not in Mahou's favor. And Shifterino takes it. He's down to a one shot here. He will go down. It's just how long will it take? He wants to make the guys in front shoot him Zerial with the bounce on him. You shall not be named, finishing Alka over in that D0 position.
Now, Mahou is about 5,000 HP down, but they are still 2 Artie and a tank up. So, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. They still have 2 minutes. There goes the 279E that they needed to kill.
And these tanks that they have to kill up here, I mean, yeah, Comey still has to die, and this is where some of the problems also come in, where the Leopards aren't really able to push into this.
Well, now it looks like they've actually managed to get some... Looks like Nickel has actually managed to get around 3,000 damage coming in from O2.
Mahou 4,000 HP down, and they still have the hardest part of the fight ahead of them up here.
Minute 35 left in this game.
Yeah, DPM math is starting to go more and more in DEVI's favor. This, again, DEVI's win, but you know, they can still throw it. But this is, you can see these little teams. You see the trio on the left of Magma, Baron, and Rick, and then you see the group on the right. And they're all just so close to each other. They're not individualizing. They're just clumping and going together. Hans and Ghost together, right? Bang, bang, might.
And then here comes the counter push.
Hans misses the shot.
And here comes the counter push now by those healthy chieftains that managed to stay back for so long. And they are just unable to capitalize on it, and it does look like it is going to be a DEVI win.
Yes, congratulations to DEVI. They will be victorious. A 7-5 final scoreline. Congratulations to EU. A condolences to everyone that wanted to see Daki shave his head, myself included. I am distraught, but well played by them. It was a really back and forth day. Both sides
absolutely
doing
was.
well and doing poorly at times, and no one ever. I like it when it goes back and forth. Head and just steamrolling, another side just kind of loses it. You know, at different times, either team could have kind of done that. At different times, both teams were behind a lot, and then they started to come back, and that's what you like to see: the perseverance from the players and not giving up, just going to the next game and trying their best.
And let's be fair, this almost won.
Yeah, this was very close. It may not look like it, but it was pretty close, and yeah, Corellia is a hard map to attack. And against that turtle, but DEVI also showing that it's a hard nut to crack, and we're just going to make you crack it. We're going to put the ball in your court, we're going to turtle it, and see if you guys can handle it.
It was definitely well played by both teams involved.
So yeah, here you can see Komi on that 0 line with 4,300 damage. He took forever to die in that position. Then followed by Ghost with 3,000, then Baron with a little under 3,000, and it just is staying around there. Those are all those guys and those British heavies at the top of that hill,
just able to just stay
away.
hull down and farm things out. I mean, it was, if this had been a 15-minute battle timer, I think Mahou could have won that. Had they been able to just stall a little bit longer and let that already work?
Yes, absolutely. But to DEVI's credit, they knew that it was going to be a 10-minute game on maps that are hard to break the turtle in 15 minutes.
Oh no, it was very well played by Mahou.
He who shall not be named with more than 5,000 damage.
Oh.
Two with 4,000 damage. Zerial with 3,500. Then it starts to trickle off heavily after Nico and Swamp Cabbage to some guys getting nothing out at all. The 260s, I mean, they did I think that push went about as well as it could be hoped. Some of their guys died that didn't need to, but the 260s did really well going in dark.
It was definitely well played by DEVI and exceptionally well played by Mahou. They definitely exceeded everybody's expectations, that is for sure.
Yeah, and good job. Yeah, good job by Mahou. They had a disappointing effort against APAC, losing 7-2. They lost 7-5 to tie. They played well. They did reasonably well. I think that no one can say, oh, it was a pushover. It was 7-5 scoreline. Nobody ever wins 7-5 and goes, aha, we like our, they made some mistakes too, and it's good to see NA performing reasonably well. They did not win though. DEVI definitely played better overall, and I like DEVI strats a bit more too. But they got caught with their pants down a few times by Mahou. So yeah, it's good matches overall, and I enjoyed casting it.
I certainly did as well, and I hope we both get the opportunity to do it again soon, because that was definitely a fight that was worthy of the time of everybody involved. 100%.
Yes, and I guess we will call it there. Thank you guys all for watching. This is Edge of Insanity. Edge, you want to go ahead and plug your Twitch?
Absolutely. It's twitch.tv/edge_of_insanity. And then, of course, everybody should go ahead and hit that follow and sub button for Germ as well. And if he wants to plug his, that would be great.
Yep, I'm at Germ_NA. Yeah, thank you. I guess I'll find somebody to host.
That is exactly what I'm looking for as well.
I guess Daki would be the one if he's still streaming.
Looks like he just went live as well.
He was streaming, but he had to have the delay. So he probably went offline and is coming back. since he won, I think he deserves the host. I just
Absolutely.
needed to work. But yeah, I guess we'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.